Well, thanks so much for doing this.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Like we said, it's been ages since I've seen you.
It's been a while, yeah.
But it's lovely to like have at least had like the social media connection.
Yeah.
So I can like, see the life updates and
Yeah, likewise.
now you're a father.
I am a father, which is a bit of a trip. It's not a bit of a trip. It is a huge trip.
Yeah.
My son Eddie is 8 months old today. So,
Wow.
at about when it gets to, I think he was born at literally 10:30. So he'd pretty much be bang on. In about 20 seconds, he will be 8 months old.
Wow.
So, which is wild. That, yeah, it is a bit overwhelming to think, because there is no like, you don't ease into fatherhood. You go from not being a dad to now you're a dad forever. Because he's gonna, touch wood, that he'll outlive me. So it's a very interesting thing. Like music kind of outlives us all too. Like any record you do, any recording you do will probably outlive you, hopefully. But yeah, it's an acute reminder of that too. So yeah, I've got a beautiful 8-month-old son. Hey, Papa. Who that was the big kind of exciting thing of last year, and yeah, he's a treasure.
Did you feel the like seismic shift or the weight of like my life has changed now forever?
Truthfully, yes, but you feel it in. It's fun. It's a really good question. That is a great question. Yes and no. Because I had everyone, if you want unwarranted opinions on something, tell them you're going to have a kid. Everyone will tell you. And some of them are right. And some of the craziest people will have some of the best advice. And some of the most together people, every kid's a little different. So yeah, when it's funny. It's still burnt into my brain that he came out, and I saw it. And then I heard him scream, which is like the 30 seconds or so. It probably wasn't even, it was probably 5. Like when he came out and there's no sound. So I'm like, is everything okay? And your life stops, like I was like, I'm assuming it's okay because no one's panicking. They're all still laughing and stuff.
Yeah.
Which, I know you've had a doctor on this podcast. Man, those guys are just incredible. I just had so much gratitude for these people doing it. It was the most incredibly, overwhelming experience of my life, I think. And he came out, then he started screaming, and I'm like, yes, good.
Huh.
And then, they go check him out. Number one, I realized, you don't realize how long the umbilical cord is, like a fire hose.
Whoa.
They went and checked him out because he came out, he's a little small. He came out and they did a check maybe about 5 feet away. And the umbilical cord stretched all that way.
Whoa.
And I'm like, is he going to make it? I'm assuming they know what they're doing. I'm not going to be like, excuse me. And he did easily, which is a trip in itself. And then they kind of handed me to him. I mean, me. Hold on. Him to me. Yeah, he didn't hold me. He was very small. Still is very small. And you're just holding him and you're like, okay, cool. And I'd had some dads say to me that it took a while for the love to grow. It wasn't instant. And that made them feel a little bit awkward. But for me, it was like this, overwhelming kind of emotional seismic shift, as you said. And then even then, Lozzie had to kind of go and get looked after for a couple of hours. So it was just me and him in a thing called the special care unit where they put babies that are a little bit undersized, the humidity cribs, those things to cook them a little bit longer. So that's where he was for for a day or so. And it was just me and him in there. I tried to take a selfie with him and was hopeless. The angles were all wrong. And then one of the lovely nurses was like, hey, do you want a photo? Much, much better. I'll send you the photo too. I'll show you the before and after. Cool. They're terrible. The first one's terrible. The second one's great. And then, so we had 2 hours together and they're like, oh, do you want to give him a bottle? I'm like, yeah, I would, there's no oh, here's how you do a bottle. It's just you do it. And then they're like, oh, he's pooed his nappy. Do you want to change that? And they're like, we'll change the first one. And then you're on after that. So yeah, it's a very steep learning curve, which I've been teaching for a long time now. And it's a really great thing as a teacher because you realize it's every day is a new thing. And it's not something that you have a rule book for. So you have to be just accepting the suck of it, that you're you have no other option. There's only one dad for him. Like, there can be stepdads and other parental figures, but he's only got one of us. We can't farm this job out. He can't accept new applicants for mum and dad. So we really just have to do our best. And it is overwhelming at times. I've been using the ratio of between 90-10 and 95-5. That 90% of it is the most incredible thing. There's very few words that I can think to. Like, I always say, like, when someone says, "Hey, what's it like to play a gig?" You're like, very hard to communicate. You do the thing and people clap and then you go and do it again. But if you've done it, you're like, yeah, I know. It's a very, very unique experience. Having a kid is a bit like that too. And then it's really, really hard for 5 to 10% of it. But it's worth it. Like, it's been worth it for us. I wouldn't be so bold to say, oh yeah, it's worth it for everyone. But yeah, it's really, it's been incredible. And thank you for opening with that too. Like, that's a real high point to start on. You know, awesome. Like, our parents musicians. Yes, many parents are musicians too. But yeah, no, it's been a lot of learning.
How's it like fit into your like current musical output? I assume like you've been teaching still the whole time.
Yeah, it's got about a month off from a couple of my schools, and then had a couple of weeks off from my casual schools as well. I'm very fortunate that like most of the bands I play in now are all parents as well.
Great.
Or at least very supportive. Like, and the bands I play in, it's kind of like a new filter too. It's like, I probably don't want to play with people who are not accepting of me having a kid. So I'm like, is the project family friendly is pretty important, like even, I play in like a Crowded House Split Ends tribute. So that's potential that he'll be able to go and see. Lozzie did come to a few gigs while she was pregnant as well. So he's been hearing music and he would kick and he would roll along. He'll pop into like my little teaching studio at home and he'll sit on the drums and have a whack. He quite likes it. It's like he's not overwhelmed by it, which is cool. Like, he just kind of checks it out. So yeah, it's one of those things that like music is very family friendly. Like, I think, your dad was a musician, your mum's a musician, like they built music into your life. It's, that's the most exciting part for me.
Yeah.
And I don't expect him to have the same experience with music that I did. But, like music is a constant, it's like what brought Lozzie and I together. It's what I hope that Eddie and I can bond over, or even like where he listens to way different shit to what I did, like where he like I used to bring home like Slipknot to my parents because I knew they would hate it. No parent in the world's going to be like, oh yeah, Slipknot, this is awesome. I would find the nastiest stuff and put it on road trips and ruin everyone's day. I don't know what he's going to do to me. I don't know. Maybe he'll find some like, I had a student this year who was really into like free like improv stuff, loves Yoko Ono. And I'm like, he's like, oh, you should really listen to him. I'm like, there ain't no way I'm listening to Yoko Ono, all right? Like, mate, like I'll come and watch you do your free gig at like Make It Up Club. That'll be awesome. I'm really supportive of that. But like, it's a bridge too far. Yeah. But it was, so maybe he'll do that. Maybe he'll just be super into free improv and he'll be like that guy that plays the snare drum on the table and like moves it around and humps it and stuff like that. Maybe that'll be his vibe. But I hope that I can approach it with an open mind. Like, my parents didn't shut it down either, so I hope that I can be similar to that.
Yeah, so what's like your earliest moment of your memory that you remember, like either playing or listening to music like when you were growing up?
So there's a story that my mum likes to tell, and that was on VHS. I don't have the VHS anymore. I don't have a VHS player either.
Who does?
Surely one of these weirdos out there has it. Not that you're weird. I don't mean to call you weird. We all have our things. It's wonderful. There was like, my mum would do like the family clean out of like the Tupperware drawers, and she would get them all out. So when she was doing, maybe I was about 2 or 3 in this video, she got all the Tupperware out and I would go get the Tupperware and I would make it into like a drum kit without really knowing what a drum kit was. I'd have like orange one here, yellow one here, kind of like metal kind of salad bowl over here. And I'd just kind of whack them. I was like, no one had shown me how to play the drums. I was just kind of working it out. The hilarious thing is my brother would also try and join in. I'm not great at, like, I'm the eldest. I'm pretty possessive. So like I'd tolerate him for a bit. And then in this classic video, I'm like dropping along and Chris, my brother's having a whack away. So I'm like, well, you're part of the drum kit now as well. I'll just whack him on the head. And he just pulls this like this shocked O face. He may have cried, but like, I think then my mum's kind of rustled in to be like, it's okay, buddy. Which she probably would do. Like, so that's my first memory of like of drumming, like of doing something like that. So which was really interesting. Like, it was a very organic kind of start. Like my parents weren't musicians. Like they're both creative people. My mum was really into ballet and studied really hard to be a ballerina, but that's a really restrictive process. So she kind of failed. You know, it's like a bit like, you know, with music, like, you know, once you finish year 12, then you've got to audition for courses. So I think that she tried to do the equivalent of that in ballet, and she just wasn't there, because ballet is like ruthless in that you have to have a specific body type, you have to have all these physical attributes. And yeah, she just wasn't there for it. And my dad's a jeweler. So he built my wedding ring for the people at home.
Wow.
Yeah, so very creative, does a lot of jewelry design, you know, draws, and kind of builds custom stuff. So creative pursuits without doing a musical thing, but both big lovers of music. So we'd always listen to, you know, like Elton John, Police, Phil Collins, you know, that was like the soundtrack growing up. Then Australian stuff like, you know, Paul Kelly and Crowded House and things like that were kind of staples. So yeah, and then I think when I was 8, my nan was like a, you know, avid coupon finder. And she dug out, because I'd been nagging my dad for like from when I was maybe 7 to get drum lessons, because two kind of seminal things. Like I don't like coincidences are a funny thing. So there was Alanis Morissette was huge in like the 90s. She had an album called Jagged Little Pill, sold like 30 million copies, which is pretty absurd seeing how albums don't really sell at all.
Yeah.
There would be like 1 billion streams, I reckon. And it was everywhere. And the drummer at the time in that band was a guy named Taylor Hawkins, who plays for the Foo Fighters, and he sadly passed away a couple of years ago. But he was playing drums for her, and it was on ABC. My mum was an avid ABC watcher, so much that I was sure that other channels didn't exist. When I moved out of home, like, and it came to 7 o'clock, I felt very weird not having the ABC News on. I'm like, there's other options? Like, TV goes.
The TV was just on or off.
Yeah, it was pretty much. It's like ABC News or nothing. So he was playing drums, and it was like on drums Taylor, and I was like, oh, like that.
Wow.
Whoa. Then I really loved a band called Silverchair, still do, and they had a song called Freak. And I was watching Rage, which is like music TV, and they're doing the film clip, and then at the end of the film clip, it's the main character's signing a check. And it's signed December 6th, 1996. December 6th is my birthday. And I love the drum kit in that video. It's like this big wine red kind of Pearl Masters with super shiny Sabian cymbals. I remember Tony Williams saying something about like, we're attracted to playing the instrument, but we're also attracted to the instrument as well. I always loved drum kits. So I was like, I would draw them, and I draw all the logos facing the right way, and you know, all of these things. So that was like, it went from like mild interest to like, this has to happen. So I'd be like, Dad, Mom, want drum lessons? Like, no, I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. And then my nan was clipping coupons, and she found 2 free drum lessons at Billy Hyde's, plus a t-shirt and a pair of, I'm not sure if we got the pair of sticks. I think we got a pair of sticks as well. So I was like, and they're like, okay, you can go have some drum lessons. Like, yes. So I got the t-shirt. I think I kept it for like nearly 25 years. Wow. It was like what I wrapped my floor tom legs up with. Because it was tiny. I got it when I was 8, so it was about yay big. So yeah, and went off. I had a wonderful drum teacher named Bill Wall. Hilariously, I didn't know you were meant to bring drumsticks to your first drum lesson. So I rolled up with like a manuscript book or something like that. And I didn't have drumsticks. And then it occurred to me that I probably needed them. And he's like, oh, that's okay. I've got a spare pair. You can have that. And that's kind of become a tradition in my like home teaching, that every person who starts lessons with me gets a pair of drumsticks. And I don't care if you have 1 or 100 lessons, you only get 1 pair. So the most cost effective way for people starting is to have a lesson, get the drumsticks, and never come back. You know, most people don't do that. Thankfully, I'm sure there's 1 or 2 over the years like, yes, see you later. But yeah, that was a really lovely moment. And he was a phenomenal kind of start to drum teaching. I swear to God, he never made mistakes though. Like he must have been teaching, like, and now I know, having taught for a while, he just had that beginner stuff dialed in. Like he knew what he was teaching, and he was really, he was so supportive, so mentoring, so lovely. And yeah, so I had him for a few years, and then sadly he took his own life when I think I was 10 and a half. So that was my first experience with that as well. Like a really deep loss of someone that wasn't a parent, but a really important mentor figure to me, and also my first kind of glimpse into suicide. because my dad's very black and white, and he just literally told me that's what had happened without kind of explaining the processes behind it.
Wow.
So that was really heavy. Because I loved him. Like, I'd bring him like a muesli bar every week. You know, like he was like my guy. Like, it was he used to play in a band called the Grand Wazoo, which are like a bit of like a legendary kind of like reggae soul kind of band. And I'd go to see them on like a Sunday. And yeah, he was like superhuman to me. It was like, you know, it was like going to see the Collingwood Magpies play or something and be like, oh my God, that's my teacher. So when he passed away, it really put me into a bit of a tailspin with my drumming. I had another teacher afterwards, wasn't the same. And he was probably very good, but no one was ever going to live up to that. Like, how can you? So then I went into kind of like drumming wilderness for a while, you know, like my parents split up. So drumming was, you know, there was only one drum kit, couldn't go to two houses. So I was playing off and on and kind of just, you know, doing my thing. And then like in high school, my high school got a drum kit because I went to a kind of a new startup high school.
Okay.
So they were kind of building as you went along. In year 7, we were in like portables and that's all we had in a giant field. Year 8, there was more portables and then they bought a drum kit. And I was like, I'd been listening to like an ad which had like a like kind of beat on it. And it kind of got stuck in my head. I'm like, and then they got the drum kit and I'm like, oh, I can play drums. I'll give it a demo. Because I had no drum teacher either. Like, you know, a bit hard to be a drum teacher without a drum kit at the school. Got to get creative. But so I hopped on and had to play, and the music teacher at the time was like, holy shit, that's like really good. And I'm like, okay, cool. Didn't think too much about it, went on my merry way. Got back into it, had drum lessons with another guy. He was very good, but he was not my guy. He was a bit wild. Like, I've had a heap of teachers. Just, yeah, he was very eccentric, very quirky, very competent, but not my vibe. So it was another like kind of like dip my toes in, not for me. And then I'm giving you like the whole timeline. I will stop at some point.
No,
then I was 15, 16, trying to work out what the hell I wanted to do with my life. As you do, thinking that it'll go that way when you're 16. I'm going to sort it out. And then this is the next 60 years sorted. And I'd started doing work experience and working on a building site because I'd wanted to buy myself like a drum kit. Because I was really interested in it. I was having some fun. I think I was just doing music as an elective. And I was bullshitting my way through, just improvising and stuff. And then, so I'm trying to get my timeline figured out. But yeah, then my grandma was staying with us as this was happening, and I shared with her that I wanted to do this. And she was heading back to go to Sydney, and she'd always head off super early in the morning. Having done that drive recently, it takes a long time. I can see why you want to leave early in the moment, but I was 16. You know, my day started at 10 o'clock on the holidays. I ain't getting up. So, and she left on my birthday morning, and she left a birthday card by the bed. And sadly, she drove home that night, and she'd had a huge kind of brain aneurysm, and she died that day. So in that card was $50 to put towards a drum kit. So very sliding doors, you know, that was like, this is not ignorable. This is what I have to do. So it really like lit a fire.
Wow.
And from then on, it was obsession. From 16 to like 27, I pretty much didn't do anything else. So, you know, and I'd been talking to like the careers counselor at school, and they're like, oh, you know, like, yeah, there's these things called like music degrees. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, oh, well, you can go and study drums at university. I'm like, you get to play drums at university? They're like, yeah, it's a whole course. I'm like, that's heaven. Like, sign me up. Fuck working. Like, I'm going to go play drums. What a genius idea. What a scam. Like, this can't be legit. So mum and I, like, I still do, living in Werribee. There's not a huge amount of like kind of tertiary qualified drum teachers. And we wanted someone that had kind of done the process before. So we're looking through them, and we're looking through on the sites and trying to find a good teacher, because the guy at school was like, he was fine, but he wasn't like, you know, setting my world on fire, and we wanted a sure thing.
Sure.
So we're looking through and we're scrolling, and we see this guy. He's graduated from ANU with honours, and he's just moved down from Canberra. And his name's Elle Skies. Oh, okay, we'll go have a lesson with him. And you know, pretty much he was in Brunswick. It was just off Sydney Road. So when we went, we, you know, piled the family into the car, and went and had a lesson. And yeah, that was about a year and a half of lessons with Elle, and he pretty much taught me everything. Like I couldn't find middle C on a piano, so he's like, "Oh, I think we might need to do some theory as well." So yeah, he basically took me from no jazz, no nothing, to being able to get into Monash, after a year and a half of lessons. So
Wow.
pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Like he was, I'm sure he tore. He has a lot of hair, so I think he's okay. But I think there was a lot of moments. But yeah, he was, and I think he was like, because he was just moved to Melbourne as well and just getting established then as well. So I was kind of like the first kind of serious, in inverted commas, students that he'd had going through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And now, he's a lecturer in Monash, so which blows my mind a little bit sometimes. But yeah, no, that I was very lucky. So then, yeah,
Wow.
that's a lot.
Yeah, but like far out. What a like journey to like get there.
Yeah.
Can we continue in the chronology then of your
Of course, yeah.
the
So
drumming career?
absolutely. So I'd had my heart set on the VCA as well.
Okay.
Like I really loved John Butler Trio, and their drummer in the John Butler Trio at the time was Michael Barker, who's a grad of VCA, and he was just, once again, like superhuman. He'd play like congas with his left hand and play kit, and he would sing, and he just looked so sick. I'm like, far out, though, that's what I want to do. And like all the, the VCA was like the kind of the standard at the time, in my opinion. But like, so I auditioned and I got into like the foundation program, which is a full fee paying kind of year transition course, which is pretty good for me because I wasn't really at the standard. Like I got into Monash as well. But Monash was very new, and it's funny because I ignored a lot of stuff. Like I had a great time at the Monash Open Day. Ran into a lovely bassist called Ben Christensen. He's such a nice dude. He was at VCA as well. At the open days as well. Clearly, you ran into all the same people because you're all doing the same things. And yeah, Monash had this lovely welcoming vibe, and VCA kind of didn't. So I did the year at VCA because it was like, that was my dream, and my grandma had left us some money, so we had the money to kind of pay for that year. And I made some really good friends and learnt a lot in that year. But I still had my Monash offer. I was able to defer it.
Oh.
Music school doesn't let you defer, but the art school does. Some lovely person which shows you the vibe of Monash. They're out to help you. They'll be like, look, probably shouldn't tell you, but if you do it this way, you can do it this way. So whoever did that, you're a legend. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I had kind of like a free shot. If I went to the VCA and then got into the full VCA course, fantastic. If I don't, then I've still got my Monash thing. So I went, I re-auditioned, didn't get in. There were some weapons. Like, I remember sitting outside and there was a drummer named Costas Theodosis, who now plays for like Delta, and he's a weapon. And he was doing like the up and coming drummer things, and he had like the left foot clave going on.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I'm in trouble here. I can't do that. And he'd flown down from like Toowoomba, and I'm like, man, that's like some ballsy commitment, like. So yeah, I did my best, had a crack. I had a wonderful year learning from Graham Morgan, who's phenomenal. Like, he's like he's Buddy Rich, but he's a bit nicer and he's left-handed. And he'd learnt from like all those like seminal kind of American drummers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a real, religiously kind of printed out things from modern drummer, because there was no real like internet drumming at that kind of stage. It was like, so he was always on this. Had this quest. This amazing kind of vibe for learning. I think he was in his 70s then. He's in his 80s now.
Wow.
And he was, and then I'd go to his place in like, West Melbourne, literally on the fringe of the city, like in this townhouse. Like he lives in the city, which was like, it's like a kind of a hark to the eras gone by, where drummers would probably live in the city and then just walk with their cymbal bag over the road to the pub or something. So he was doing that. I was like, and he was a lovely man as well. But it is competitive. I think they take 3 drummers out of so many people that audition. But I had my Monash offer, so I was like, okay, cool. Well, these guys are keen to have me. And I got a couple of mates going there that I met in the course that were in the same boat as me, who were really good musicians as well. Mm-hmm. So it was a bit of like a sure thing, like, cool. Okay, cool. I've made some friends. I'm not going in there alone. Let's go do this Monash course. Clayton's a long way from Werribee. I wasn't driving at the time. It did motivate me to get my driver's license because it took me about 2 hours each way to get there. Which I did a lot of listening to music, which was awesome.
Okay.
But 2 hours is a long fucking time. I was always going to clock music listening, I think. And I had like it was funny, like my first gig that I did was like the school musical for my school. I did like Grease.
Oh, yeah.
And they paid me enough to buy like a set of headphones and an iPod.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like the biggest one you could get, like 120 gig iPod.
Oh, wow. Like one of the classics?
Yeah, it's like this big chunky thing. So if someone tried to mug me, I could have just thrown that at them and run off. But yeah, so, and then I went to Monash, and it was still in its kind of finding its feet kind of infancy. I think it was 2000, I finished high school 2004, VCA, would have been like 2005, 2006. And once again, really lucky. VCA got a new... Basically, the Melbourne model came in, which was kind of not supportive of early specialisation. They wanted everyone to do a broad undergraduate degree, then specialise.
Okay.
So the VCA was not really fitting into that model.
Mm-hmm.
They got in a new dean, who was kind of like the person to try and push the VCA into that. And the VCA was never going to be that. So it really like burnt them. At the same time, like Monash was like, cool, bit of blood in the water here. We're going to really double down on the jazz course. So they're getting all these great teachers in and really listening to us too. When they would ask what we wanted, we would see it happen.
Right.
So it was like this real, like, I got to catch the wave of this really exciting time at Monash and play with some wonderful musicians, learn a whole lot, make some wonderful friends. Yeah, it was so great. Like, it was really stressful too. And in some ways, you know, like, I think, you know, hindsight's always 20/20. Like, I was trying to, you know, live in two worlds of trying to still work and make money, to kind of justify being a musician. You know, it's like, if I'm not working, then, well, I have no value. Like, if I'm that poor, stereotypical, sleeping on my mum's couch till I'm 30 musician, I've failed, which I was, you know, not even 20. Probably should have chilled out a little bit. But yeah, so I was like, I didn't enjoy the experience as much. Hilariously, now that I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's tournaments that actually are at Monash in the sports complex, literally across the road. Yeah. I never went to that sports complex the whole time I was there because I was so like, got to do music, got to practice.
Yeah.
And I look and it's like, man, I could have had a great time. I could have wandered across and, you know, gone to the gym or gone for a walk, you know, because Monash, we occasionally would go for walks, usually to try and find coffee, which I didn't really start drinking until post-university, but I just like going for an adventure.
Sure.
Apparently engineering had the best coffee, as the coffee connoisseurs would tell me.
Okay.
So yeah, we would do stuff like that. And Clayton's is like, it's just, as you know, you went there as well. It's like this whole labyrinth in itself. You know, you really can get lost in it. But, you know, I didn't kind of allow myself to have that experience. It was very like, if I'm not at uni, I got a job like at a primary school around the corner teaching drums as well. So I like rush off there, teach a few students, come back just in time for performance prac or something like that. So,
okay. Wow.
So yeah. And then I finished that and I jumped straight into my dip ed. And then like, because I had it all figured out. Hey, like, I'm going to go get a teacher, go finish my teaching thing, go get a 5-day a week full-time teaching job at this really nice school close to home. I'm sorted, you know? But it's not what I really wanted. So I was in the middle of like my last placement and it was sucking. Like, it was bad, you know, so bad that I was like, I'd had a few run-ins with like my mentor teacher. Him and I just didn't get along. And the uni was like, hey, he's like not fitting in well because, so, you know, not to make excuses, but basically, yeah, they'd lost their director and they'd had a new director. But sometimes what happens, they don't make allowance for that. So that she got all this extra stuff plus her course load, second semester of VCE music, which is the pointy end doing really hard stuff. And I wasn't confident enough to teach that. And she was kind of expecting me to be confident enough to teach that.
Right.
It's a bit of miscommunication. You know, the school didn't really want to have me either. Like, it was a bit of a mess. Yeah. You know, so, and yeah, I ended up like, you know, they were like, oh, you know, we just don't think he's ready yet. And he was like, cool, so you're failing him? And they're like, then he was like, okay, he's failed then. Oh. So yeah, I flunked my like final placement, which meant that I'd failed the unit, which meant that I couldn't graduate. So I'd have to go back and redo it. Whoa. So I was like, cool, fuck this. I'm going to go work at Kmart full time and still teaching drums. To figure out what, you know, I was, you know, distraught. Like, it really knocked my confidence around. Sure. I was lucky enough to get a nice instrumental teaching job in that time from a friend of mine who were really supportive. And I told them the whole thing about like, yeah, I had a really bad placement. And they're like, look, you know, we all get them. We'll support you to kind of go and finish it. You just got to find the right school and, you know, you can even do it here if you want. Now, universities are, you know, rightly or wrongly, they're like, you can't do placements at schools you work at. At the time I was doing it. Now they're like, look, honestly, do whatever the hell you want. We just need more teachers.
Okay.
Find any school. You know? Hell, work as a teacher, getting paid, and that counts as your placement now.
Yeah.
Which is a much better solution. But so yeah, I couldn't do it there, but I found a really lovely school with a wonderful mentor teacher who really helped me build my confidence back up.
Cool.
Because I'd been teaching that whole time. I started teaching when I was 18. I knew that I could teach. It's just that, you know, everyone's got different ideas of it. And I needed to find a school that suited my style. And yeah, he was like, you know, was a bit aghast. He's like, dude, you're teaching like a third year out teacher. Like, you know, I could leave and you'd be fine. I'm like, yeah, that's what I kind of thought. But yeah, I wasn't sure about it. So yeah,
you needed someone to give you that confidence to go like, yeah, you're doing a great job.
Absolutely. And you know, it's not that woman didn't, you know, oddly, we still stayed in touch and I ended up teaching drums at that school anyway.
Okay.
It was just, I think it was just a bad scenario for everyone, which can happen. Like, you know, like you can walk into something and not realize what's going on there. Like the school didn't realize the process for failing someone. The university didn't explain it to them. They didn't really, it was a bad time and they just kind of took me anyway, which was nice of them. But in a way, they should have kind of been like, hey, like we don't really have the capacity to take someone on.
Yeah. Because
it is a lot of work to mentor a teacher, you know, like realistically, like newish teachers, they need a lot of help and support, probably even more so than students because it's like this whole, it's like a baby deer really. It's like real shaky.
Yeah.
And you kind of hold their kind of future in their hands. So if you can have a bad experience, they may not become teachers. And that's not a good thing for anyone. So yeah, it was an interesting experience, and it took me a long time to kind of come to terms with that because I think I'm a pretty good teacher, but obviously I have failed a placement, which means am I a bad teacher? Like this whole like it's probably not black and white. It's probably grey that, you know, yeah, I wasn't the right fit for that particular scenario, but I found a few schools where I am a good fit. So.
Well, and also it's like part of your learning assessment and you didn't have the support to like get through it. So
yeah,
like,
which I think,
wonder, right?
I think, yeah, right. Like it's a bit of a no-brainer now. Like it's funny how like at schools we put so much emphasis on supporting people to do well. At universities, when I went through uni, that was not really a thing. It was like,
oh no, it's just you're on your own.
Yeah, it's like, cool, you're dumb then. Like, you know, and there was even like, I remember the guy being like, oh, well, your music degree failed you. I'm like, the fuck it did. Like, yeah, he was just, you know, we just did not get along. And I still run into him from time to time because he's quite well known. And oddly, he takes credit for my success, which I find baffling, but that's who he is as a person. And I'm like, cool, man, whatever helps you sleep at night. You know, like he's yeah. And that does happen, you know, like, you know, it's quite curious. Like that somehow but it's all worked out. He's happy, I'm happy. You know, no harm, no foul. I was an arsehole too. You know, I had probably a chip on my shoulder. I hadn't worked out my whole kind of process about what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. That kind of, you know, 20s years are really hard in that way. I think it wasn't until I was in my 30s where I really started to become a bit more comfortable in who I was and what I was doing. So yeah, so that kind of time off was really good in a way too, because I went back, because when you do your dip ed, there's no more drumming. Like we got to play a little bit in class, like we'd put together like mock big bands to play through charts and stuff, but you go from like music is everything to music is nothing. And I found that to be quite a hard adjustment as well because I really did love playing drums. So in that time I took off studying, I just went back and I was having lessons with like Jerry Pentazis. Oh, cool. I went to Sydney to have lessons with Gordon Rittmeister. Yeah, I got to just rekindle my love for playing the instrument again. So like finding that balance between them is really important.
Yeah.
You know? Did
you have the like where were you sitting with your stylistic passions whilst you're playing? Like were you like, oh, I'm at Monash and we're doing jazz and I'm just going to dive into that? Or did you still have this like dual thing of like, I like playing heavy music, but I'm here to learn jazz and like, you know, balancing two worlds there as well? Yeah.
It's amazingly astute. It's almost like you knew like inside me were the two, what do they say? Inside you were two wolves or something like that. Yeah, I'd always like, Elle really helped me to cultivate like a love for jazz. Mm-hmm. Like I'd never heard jazz until I was 16 and I heard this. I'm like, whoa, like it really kind of lit something in me. Like, and I was really into that kind of drumming style. And just because it was so different and it was like this prestige thing as well, like the jazz drummers are like the pinnacle of the instrument, which I still do believe a lot, like that jazz really has birthed most of the innovations in the instrument. But yeah, I always loved heavy music as well. Like I grew up, like where I grew up in Werribee, it was like, there was no jazz. The local battle of the bands was, you know, grindcore, metalcore, heavy metal, and then my weirdo funk fusion bands. But I also played in like a new metal band as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a bit of an outlier. but I wanted the rigor of a jazz degree and then to try and play the music that I loved as well, which honestly probably didn't work super well. You know, it was always like, hey man, you've got to play a standard. I'm like, dude, I played like Bright Size Life. Like that's a standard. Apparently not. It needed a ding, ding, da ding, ding, da ding, which then is hilarious because I went to the States to listen. I didn't hear much ding, ding, da ding in like the Village Vanguard or like Baked Potato. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, Rob was very into jazz being jazz. He has that kind of Wynton Marsalis thing about like, this is what jazz is. I think he's chilled out a little bit over the years. I hope he has. I hope you're doing well, Rob, if you listen to this. So for me, though, they never really quite lined up, but people were very supportive of it. And I think of jazz is a bit of a superpower for playing any style. It's just improvisation. So I'd play like Mars Volta songs for my recital. I'd play like my own like original songs.
Cool.
Yeah, I was really like, I'm a pushy person. I'm a stubborn, non-rule following. If someone tells me I can't do something, watch me. Like it's one of my worst and best qualities. I'm a stubborn person. So yeah, like I never lost the love for heavy music. If anything, like doing that much jazz really did burn me out from jazz. I really didn't want to play jazz. Mm-hmm. And now it's I love playing jazz. I think it's just like with anything, like music's so vast. Why would you limit? I've always seen it that I've never been a one size or one genre kind of person. I'm always kind of surfing my way through. It's funny. There's that saying, "Jack of all trades, master of none." The second half of that, but often better than a master of one. So I'm like, my whole life I've been like, you got to specialize. And then you're like, we didn't wipe the dust off the rest of it. Like for me, looking broadly at stuff is really where I feel happiest, and yeah, I might miss out on it's funny because Elle is super specialized. He's the Brazilian drum kit guy, probably the best in Australia, in my opinion. So we're quite different in that way. But it's both worked out in various ways. And Elle listens to a lot of stuff. He's very well versed in music. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing. So yeah, I've always had like kind of dual loves, which is quite interesting. Like, because there was Box Hill as an option where you could do a much more contemporary music degree, but that was about it. And like, I don't even think they were offering like a full degree, or if it was full fee paying. And I didn't want to have to pay $50,000 for a music degree. It just wasn't really compatible because Monash was so awesome and it was pretty much free. It was like, pretty much free still. I paid off my HECS this year. Nice. It only took me 15 years. Thanks, Anthony Albanese, for that little extra cash to get it done. So, but it was a much cheaper option, and it was a really rigorous, good course. I learnt a lot from it by doing something that I was uncomfortable with. If I'd just gone and done what I was comfortable with, I don't think I would have made the progress that I did. So, yeah, and it was, so it was really interesting in that way.
What are some like standout highlights from the band scene?
The band, for me, like playing personally?
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like, yeah, I think things that I'm like, I was sitting with a student of mine and I've been teaching him since he's 4, he's 15 now. And he's wonderful. He's like, he's got a decade on him. Like, of course he's good, but like he's forming his own bands and he's doing Battle of the Bands and stuff like that. And he was having a chat about kind of his band because they've got one guy they're struggling to kind of fit him in there. And he's like, oh, we're just such good mates, but he's not as into it as I am. And I'm like, honestly, from my experiences, that could be a good thing. Like having someone who's a really good friend, but is like, hey, we should probably chill out and have fun is really good. So I look back fondly when I was like, when I started, I was starting to play in bands a lot when I was in high school, at the high school I went to, like the Battle of the Bands, I think I played in like 4 or 5 bands.
Oh, cool.
Then at like the end of year, like what we would do, the Balwyn Prez night, like we had our version, which was not, look, we don't have a Miss Clayton, unfortunately. There was no fireworks. There was a hall though. So I played in everything in my year 12 year. I think they used one other drummer for one song. I literally played in everything else.
Cool.
So I was really into it and I kept that going. Someone, the older kids would be like, oh, we lost our drummer. Do you want to do this? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. Then I had a band with my brother. My brother actually kicked me out initially because I was in too many bands. Okay. I wasn't committed enough to the project. Mm-hmm. And I think I gave the 7 words of like, you'll be back. You'll be back. And I was right. I'm an asshole, but I was right. Sometimes it's better to not be an asshole. Lessons you learn later on in life.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had this really great band and we were just, it was at my parents' house. We'd set up in my bedroom because that's where I had my drum kit. And I used to have, of course I did, like had this obnoxiously large, I just spent all the money I made on adding bits onto my drum kit. And
Okay, cool.
Pretty much it was immovable. It was in the corner, so everyone had to come to me and we'd go in there and we'd play for like a couple of hours and we'd go downstairs and I had like a Mars Volta boot. Do you know the Mars Volta?
No.
Like a seminal kind of like early 2000s kind of, they were in a like kind of a quite a popular kind of punk band called At the Drive-In.
Okay.
And then they're like, nah, this is too formulaic. We're going to do this really wild kind of prog, but we have like this fan base. So it was like modern day King Crimson, really.
Right.
They do these hardcore concept albums and have like jamming and stuff. And I was like, this is like incredible because it was jazz mixed with metal in a way.
Oh.
So we loved that and we loved the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So we'd go and watch this Mars Volta Japanese bootleg that I'd gotten from one of my mates. And then we watched live at Slane Castle, which is Red Hot Chili Peppers paying to like 300,000 people.
Yep.
And it's on YouTube now. I watched it the other day and I'm just like, all the goosebumps come back again. I'm just like, oh my God.
Is that the one where they like pause the video and like they have the Matrix cameras?
I think
they,
so.
Like, spin them sometimes. And
Yeah.
stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like in the early 2000s, that was like,
oh yeah,
revolutionary. You're like, whoa. Even a music DVD was revolutionary. They were so hard to find. So we'd go watch that, get all inspired, like be like watching the grand final footage, and we'd go upstairs and be like convinced that that's what we sound like. And my mates would text me who lived like 10 Ks away, like, yeah, you guys are rehearsing today, aren't you? Because the sound would travel like I lived overlooking like the river and it was just open paddocks.
Wow.
So the sound would travel all that way. But we never got noise complaints because people were like, you know what, we can hear what you're doing, you're having a good time, and it actually sounds pretty good. So I was really proud of like those fun moments.
Mm-hmm.
Then, I got to do some touring with that band, and then I started to kind of jump on bigger things and get to do these really big support acts for like bands that I really like. Like Cog was like heroes of mine. Got to support them. And then I jumped into another band and got to play at the Forum. But it was kind of becoming like, it was a bit more like a job at that stage, and I was always very hyper focused about it. And I reflect on this all the time. There was the simplistic joy of just playing with like some of my best friends in a garage, not a care in the world, feeling like you're superhuman. You're like shirts off, board shorts on, drinking beers, and like just feeling like you were like doing the thing. That is like, man, that's the pinnacle of it for me. Like maybe I'm getting old and nostalgic, but like I've played like, I did the D squared drumline things, and we would do like this huge, we did like the Cricket World Cup opening ceremony. It was like 100,000 people at the MCG. And we'd do like NRL Grand Finals and stuff like that. And those were amazing, but they're amazing for a different reason. They're amazing just for the sheer, like I didn't even dream up that I'd be doing something like that. It's so surreal. You're standing in the middle of a packed MCG with 1 billion people watching as well, being like I thought that I'd be like, world tour or something, not playing in the center of, the MCG. Like, it's better than what I could conceive of. But yeah, like for me, that I was proud of like kind of starting my own band and doing the music that I really wanted to do. A lot of work though. Like, it was like my brother's mates as well. And like one was really serious, but then, they all get jobs and, things like that. Mm-hmm. So I was really like, I was putting all my money into it, and I was like, and I was mad at them for not loving it as much as what I did.
Sure.
So if I looked back, I would have been a bit more sympathetic about it all. And I pushed really hard and we never really got anywhere, but we had a sick time doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's really special that you have like, I suppose it's like the looking back a bit, but like I love the playing music with the friends, but like there's these like cool experiences, or like I'm playing to a lot of people or whatever, but it's like they come with other stress or like whatever, whereas it's a bit more pure and fun when you're just having a good time.
I think so. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, like really big gigs are amazing, when you get to play to a bunch of people or really high level stuff, like it's really wonderful. And I'm so lucky that I get to still play gigs now. But for me, it's like that kind of the triangle of gigs. It's like there's 3 things which kind of make or break them. It's like good people, well paid, good music. Like if I can get 2 of those, I'm pretty happy. But for me, the people is become more important. At the start, it was not important. When I was just like hustling for gigs, I was like, I don't care if you're like, you're a serial killer. If it pays, I'm doing it. even if it doesn't pay, I'll probably do it as well, you know, like, and then over time, like where I am now, like, you know, I really love the life that I have. Like I love that I get to teach full time and I have wonderful students who I love and I love what I do. I have a beautiful family. I have a lovely wife. I have a hobby that I really enjoy as well. So if I'm not playing every weekend, it doesn't faze me. Like financially, it doesn't matter that much. My teaching pays really well, and you know, gives me the life that I want to do. So the bar to do a gig is quite high now. It's like, cool. If this is gonna like wreck my day, I probably won't do it. If it pays about the same as what my teaching pays, I'll probably just do the teaching. You know, so my filter for gigs has become quite different now. Yeah,
I suppose, is it like freeing because you don't have the like, all right, I've really got to hustle. You have the ability to choose.
Absolutely. I think, hustling is hard. Yeah, it's not something I don't, I'm not like a Wolf of Wall Street, sell me this pen kind of guy. I don't mind doing it. Like my first jobs were in retail, and I've run my own teaching business since I was 18. I don't mind selling you on it, but I also like the piece of not doing that. Especially gig hustling, I find to be really difficult, like you've really got to sell yourself, or I felt that I had to. Nowadays, you probably don't have to so much. I've been playing for such a long time. It's like, you're either going to hire me or not, really. Like I can't change your mind and that's cool,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like a hustle-free existence. I like just being able to be who I am and accepting that, and it's like if you took every gig in Melbourne, you would die. You would never sleep. There's too many, there's enough for everyone to go around. And I've changed my kind of criteria of success of like, it's not about how many, it's about how good. What does it add? Because I still want to be playing gigs when Eddie grows up and for it to be part of his life,
Yep.
I think that's so cool. I imagine like for Lucy seeing her dad do these gigs would have been like go to primary school, tell you, mates, oh, my dad's playing with it. Oh, that's so cool. Even for you, like, oh, my dad's a musician. Wow, look at all this stuff. It's so sick. So I really think it's changed in a lens too, that I want him to see like music that it's a thing that people do. Make it visible, because it never was visible to me. It was just this like kind of thing that other people did.
Yes.
Or that you listened to on a CD or watched on the TV. So yeah, making it accessible and doing gigs like, all my bandmates have met my kid, they're all uncles and aunties to him, I think that's really important as well.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole community around.
Yeah. Like music is a community. I think it, like you see like, another seminal memory, there was a big tsunami, I think overseas maybe, or it was I forget, but they did a huge benefit gig for it around about the time my grandma passed away. We had to go up to Sydney because she lived up there to sort out all the stuff with that. And just to give my mum a break, probably, she was like, oh, there's this huge Wave Aid gig on. You should go see it. So it was like Silverchair reformed to do it.
Whoa.
Crowded House did it, or maybe the Finn brothers did it. It was this incredible lineup. So yeah, and it was like the first time my mum let us go to a festival kind of on our own. It was me, my brother and sister, maybe slightly recklessly, not making the best decisions, like I did drive past the venue it was at. It was like in the center of Sydney and it would have been packed as. I saw all the people getting out after a cricket match. I'm like, yeah, my mum just let us go to this alone. I was telling Lozzie, and she's like, that doesn't seem, I'm like, like, we're fine. No one died. No one got lost. Yeah. Baby. I don't know. No, but no one got lost. It's all fine. Don't report my mum. She's a lovely woman. So yeah, it was like, that was another real seminal thing as well. Like being able to see the music community come together and do stuff like that and make millions of dollars for all of this. And yeah, like most of my friends have come from a musical thing. Even like, it's funny. It's like, because I do jiu-jitsu now as well. That is very community-based as well. And all the jiu-jitsu guys ask about music and all the music guys ask about jiu-jitsu. And there's like 5 of us in the middle that do both, that just can't figure out what we want to talk about. But yeah, that community is so important. I think once again, it's like those people, like, being in a band is like an ecosystem. Like you have to be so vulnerable and so open. And you're sharing these really deeply personal things. I don't think you can do that with just anyone. So when bands thrive, I think it's when you have that support and trust, or even like when teaching relationships do it, you have to you're building your own little community. At the schools I work at, that's really important. The music departments are communities. They're safe havens from the rest of the bullshit that goes along at school, you know, and that makes me really proud when a student will come and be like, yeah, I feel comfortable here. You know, I did as well. Like I always loved the isolation of a practice room, that no matter what's going on in your world, when you play the instrument, it's just you and the instrument. And even now, like I love, like now that I'm on holidays and I've got a little bit of extra time, I'll just jump on, you know, stay on for 5 minutes before I teach or hang around for 10 minutes afterwards and just have a little bit of a play. And even during COVID, that was like that part of it. I've always just loved playing the instrument. It doesn't need to be with people as well. So music's amazingly flexible, you know, in that way. It can be huge, it can be tiny, like it can just be you and the instrument and it feels like a universe. Like I just love that. And I hope I never stop loving it. So yeah, no, the community is an amazing thing.
It's super encouraging.
It is.
We should play the question for the next guest game.
Oh yeah, this one's great.
So I've got a question. Sorry, let me just open up the computer.
I really wonder if I should have listened to the last podcast, but I didn't.
No, well, we record so far in advance.
Yeah, I can't even cheat.
No, there's no way to like dive in and pre-prepare.
I could like DM I wouldn't even know who it was. I have to. This is me trying to be a control freak, isn't it? And like, you know, when I was thinking about doing it, I was like, do I write things I want to talk about? Or like, it's like, bro, just chill. You did a degree in improvisation. Just go and use it. Like,
you can have a chat. It's all right. You've done great.
Cool.
So question for you is from Travis Woods, the band leader of...
he went to Monash as well. From
Horns of Leroy.
Yeah, with Dan Berry on drums.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Dan's still in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think he's like... I don't know if he's new dad. I know he got married though.
Oh, he did just have a kid.
Hey!
Because I filled in from a gig with Marigolden.
Oh, sick!
Yeah, when he just had the baby.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Dan.
Do you want to be a musician or do you want to be an artist? What do you want to do in music?
Oh, Dan. That's a good question, mate.
Travis's question.
Oh, sorry, not Dan.
We were chatting about Dan Berry.
I'm sure Dan would ask a very good question as well. It's a really interesting one because I do martial arts. So, a martial art. I don't do all of them. That would be very complicated. So, you know, pequena elas dos. Why can't we have both? Being a musician to me is really important. I used to really define myself by that. I think it's kind of like that specialist or generalist or like forest or trees. Like the tree is the musician. That's kind of what we are. That's the art we've chosen. Whereas like artist is you in the world, interacting with the world as yourself. So for me, like I feel more artist now that I can take my skills as a musician and go and apply that to other things. So like, you know, being a dad, parenting is all improvising and is like the band leader is reckless. You never know what songs he's going to call in what key it's going to be. Could be the key of Screaming at 2 a.m. It's not a fun song. It's not great. Not one of my favorite standards. You did not prepare me for that, Rob. But you know, like that's you know, you use your artistry to make it work. So for me, I guess I care less about being defined as one thing and just being defined as the whole thing. Like, you know, if I had to write my bio now, you know, I'd include muso in it, but I'd include Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you know, martial artist, and I include dad, you know, wife, you know, I have a wife. Well, I'm not a wife. I'm a husband, you know. I think, yeah, like I really love the quote. I forget who said it, but it's like, it basically goes, do I contradict myself? Of course I contradict myself. I am large. I contain multitudes. Because we're not one thing. We're many different things. So for me, I resonate more with that than being one thing. That doesn't devalue myself as a musician though. Like I love music. Changed my whole life. I would not be sitting here talking to you if I hadn't found the drums. But it's not everything that life is. And, you know, like I think it was like Al asked that question about like, what would you do if you stopped playing music? Like, or you couldn't play music anymore. And that doesn't scare me anymore. It's like I would find a way. I wouldn't be like, oh, well, if I just put the drumstick in my elbow and flip myself upside down, I'll keep playing. I might be like, cool, I'll take 3 months off playing and I'll go do something else. Like at 20, I would have been distraught. But now it's like, well, you know, go spend time with my kid. Go for a walk in the pram with Lozzie, you know, go get a nice coffee.
Yeah.
Go do some jiu-jitsu. If I can't do jiu-jitsu, I'll go watch some jiu-jitsu. You know, if I can't play music, I'll watch music. You know, share some fun memories of it. Just because you can't do it anymore doesn't mean what you did doesn't matter.
Mm.
You know, which is funny as we get older. You know, like, you know, my peak gigging season is probably behind me unless I have a midlife crisis and go work on a cruise ship or something, which is, you know, who knows what life has in store. But, you know, like you know, at the peak of it, I was playing 4 or 5 nights a week. You know, I had residencies on Thursday through to Sunday, and I'd do original gigs as well around that. You know, I was never home. That's not sustainable for the life I want to live now. So my goals have changed, you know. So did Trav answer the question as well? Did he say he's an artist?
I can't remember if I put it back on him or not.
Did he talk about his ice hockey?
He did briefly.
Yeah.
It surprised me. I didn't realize that people did that here.
Yeah. It's rare, hey?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, we've got a sick ice centre, though. The
And then
O'Brien.
he was like, there's like 7 of them or something. Like all around
17?
Melbourne,
Yeah.
there's like all these different ice
Yeah,
hockey
I've
rinks.
been to the ice hockey to watch it before.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like another guy that I used to play music with is like played in one of the pro teams
Okay.
as an ice hockey player.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, we're all multitudes, you know. Played in a pop punk band as a bassist and was a pro ice hockey player. You know, like
That's awesome.
that shit shouldn't line up, right? Like they're so disparate. And I feel like the trap of music is it really does absorb all of you. Like that all you become is a musician. Which is fine, like for a period of time. But I think that there's so much more to life than just that, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think I've like similarly on that journey of like, it definitely for me, especially when I was like 19, 20, it was like, no, this is everything and I'm committing all of it to it. And like I had a bunch of injuries like over the years that have like stopped me from being able to play for long periods of time. And that sort of like forced me to like step back. And I think that, yeah, now I'd much more align with what you're talking about. Like, well, what's the life that I want to live? Like,
Yeah.
For me, I didn't want to spend my life really hustling to get work and then be playing wedding gigs on the weekend and then getting on a tour and being away from home. Like that playing music wasn't like the number one sole activity of my life.
Yeah.
And the top priority. It was like, oh, I love playing like good music and with my friends. And if I do some work that's not just drumming, I don't have to say yes to that music theatre gig that I don't want to do, or let's travel around and play this, you know, random thing that isn't like that musically engaging or interesting for me.
Yeah.
There's more to life than just that. But it definitely, like, especially at music school, it's just like, oh.
Yeah. And especially like, you know, there's a lot of wonderful things to kind of pick into there. You know, like when I met you, it was like my first year of teaching at your high school. I feel like Setters didn't mention it for some reason, but you know, everyone knows where you went to high school. And yeah, you were like the star pupil. Like I remember when Paul and I did like handover, he like wrote a huge kind of dossier kind of handover for you.
Wow.
And I got to meet you and you were lovely and really competent, you know, beyond what I had taught anyone as, you know. And I think it was like, you know, Luke's really serious. He wants to pursue music professionally, you know, which was amazing for me and a bit daunting, you know, because it's like Paul kind of is like, he'd been there the whole time and he's like, oh yeah, I'm moving to the Philippines now. See ya. I'm like,
yeah,
okay. And I'm sure that was kind of sucky or daunting for you as well.
Yeah, I was like, why are you ditching me? Like, we've been practicing like some of the year 12 repertoire since year 7. Like, you're ditching me right before the like.
And I'd kind of
finale.
inherited this program with like 3/5 of it that I didn't know either. I'm like, oh yeah, Island Magic, that sounds fun. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know if I can read this. So how's that part go, Luke? Oh yeah, that sounds good. Thanks, mate. You know, like
yeah, that wild Dave Weckl.
yeah, but no one has a recording for it. Thank God. Like we don't need to do it on the syllabus because I'm sick of people messaging me being like, "Can you burn a CD from?" I'm like, I don't. Why would it's 2025, man? Stop doing it. But it's a sick tune though. Like shout out Dave Weckl. If you listen to this, Dave, big fan. You know, it was and you were like had that real passion. You know, like. And, you know, I was thinking about this too, like the people I see that in are all still involved in music in some capacity, you know, like it doesn't go away, but it just evolves and it fits the shape of our life, you know, and that's the wonderful thing about music, you know. I've had, you know, like I think a few other students, you know, mostly out of, you know, the high school, you know, out of Balwyn, who really do rack their brains about that. They've got like the sensible choice and the slightly crazy choice of like, do I go and I'm really intelligent, I'm doing well at school, should I follow that path or should I follow music? And I'm always like, look, music can take the shape of whatever you want it to be, but lots of other careers don't. You can't be a hobbyist engineer. You can't just go like, oh, I'm going to build a bridge in my backyard. You know, you can't be a hobbyist doctor being like, yeah, let me take a look at that kind of infection and I'll put something on it. You know, there are things that have much more rigor to them, which it makes sense to kind of study them in that way. And, you know, Monash is amazing because they let you do double degrees of pretty much everything. So, you know, one of my students was talking about this. He really wanted to be an engineer, but he also loved music. Like he was fantastic drummer. You know, got a really high score in his drumming and was very, very competent. And he's like, oh, I don't really want to lose my music, but I don't want to miss out on doing that. I'm like, just do the double degree. If you hate one of them, just do the other.
That's great.
And I ran into him at Monash, you know, which was funny. Like, oh, hey, Mr. Douglas. I'm like, mate, it's Taylor now. I was doing a jiu-jitsu comp there. And I'm like, you know, in my like rash, I look like I've just gone off like the beach or something, which is very funny. As he's right, you know, like very different to what I look like at Balwyn. But you know, he's like, oh, you know, like I'm like, how you going? He's like, yeah, I'm doing the music thing. I'm playing all these small bands, having a sick time, and doing my engineering as well. I'm like, that's phenomenal.
That's awesome.
And then he's like, oh, can you give me a job reference? I'll be like, fuck yeah, I can give you a job reference. Even if you're not good at the job, I'll still give you a reference for it. Yeah. So he's and that kind of stuff makes me really proud as well. I think there's a lot of strength in finding what you want your career to look like. And there's so much space for everyone to do that. And we often, you know, there's some phenomenal musicians who are working a lot and doing great. But for most people, that's not the reality. And that doesn't mean that you're a failure in any way, shape, or form. It just means that you've made choices. You know, like I think where we get into trouble is where we try to have a foot in either camp. That we don't want to do that, but we also don't want to admit to ourselves that we don't want to do what it takes to do that. Because it's a lot, as you said, you know, like. And the third thing too is like if you're half-arsing it, you're taking that gig away from someone who really wants it. Yeah. If you're doing a shit job at that musical theatre gig, people love musical theatre drumming, you know, like, you know, and you're kind of ruining the whole experience for 100 people involved in that show. Just say you don't want to do it and they'll be super grateful for it, which took me a long time to learn. You know, like I went for a job this year and I got it and I turned it down, which is rare. Like, you know, like, especially as musicians, as you said at music school, you're like, got to say yes to everything, got to do everything. It's like, I was like, this just doesn't fit. It doesn't pay as much as what my other schools do. It's a bit of an unknown thing. For me at this point in my life, it doesn't fit. So thank you, really grateful, but I'm going to say no. And, you know, they were fine with it. They'll just go re-advertise, find a good person for it, rather than me taking the job 3 months later, realizing it sucks. You know, and then they got all that setback, you know, especially as you know, that changing over in your VC a year, even as someone as competent as you, really kind of throws you off a little bit. You know, you've got this unknown person who's, you know, Paul was, you know, in his 50s, maybe his 60s, you know, it's very advanced, been teaching for a long time, really confident. And you've got the total opposite coming in, you know, like I've been teaching for a while, but I was in my 20s, you know, like, you're like, this guy looks like me. Like, are you sure? Like, this is the guy? I'm not saying you thought that, but maybe the thought crossed your mind. Why'd they choose him?
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, that's what you thought, wasn't it?
No, that's not what I thought. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that though. That's really interesting hearing your perspective of like getting the handover and where you're at in your like career and teaching experience.
It's quite a funny story. Like, I'd finished my dip ed and I wanted to move into like full-time drum teaching. At least like I knew that having failed that kind of rounds, that had what had solidified what I wanted to do. And what I talk to a lot of people with teaching, that teaching is really flexible too. You can teach in your bedroom, you can teach at a music school, you can teach at a really prestigious private school, you can teach anywhere. It's really flexible. But you have to choose what you want to do. Don't let someone choose for you. And for me, like most, like maybe 90% of people go into one school, 5 days a week classroom teaching. And that wasn't a vibe for me. I was happy to do it 1 or 2 days. And I did with mixed results. Always funny. Character building, I think they call it. Maybe character destroying and stuff. It's like, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you like really weird and stuff like that. You know, so yeah, and like I saw the Balwyn job come up. I didn't know much about the school. I knew like I'd gone to uni with Owen, Gaz,
oh, cool.
Rally. I did say her name right, Rally.
Yeah.
It's not Raylene.
No.
She gets very upset at that. Funnily enough, she put me onto this t-shirt as well. So thanks, Rel.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, support live music. Nice.
Yeah. Excellent fashion sense as well, which I did not have at university, but Rally still did have. Yeah. So I've been like, okay, there's something pretty serious. And I knew Anna was working there, and like a friend of mine from uni had been working there for a while as well. So I'm like, seems really good, and salaried instrumental teachers' jobs are like unicorns. It's like, you got to take them if you want them. Like, they're super rare. So I went like fully expecting not to get the job. Like, why would they choose me? And then I was driving to do a gig. So we did the interview. I think I did pretty well. You never really know.
Who were you interviewed by?
I was interviewed by Bernie, which is terrifying. She didn't say a word the whole time.
Oh my God.
Scary. Sorry, Mrs. Clayton. To shout out, Mrs. Clayton. If she does listen to this, she'll probably be like, Taylor, come on, man. Miss Ondachi, who sadly passed away. It was her birthday yesterday. She shares a birthday with my wife, and in a creepy coincidence, or not so creepy, just a funny one, her husband has the same birthday as me as well. Oh. So we laughed when we found that out. She interviewed, and she was lovely. She was really supportive. And then it was David Nichols.
Okay.
Who was a quirky dude as well.
Yes.
And he was actually the one that phoned me. He's so funny. He cracks me up so much. And I was driving to like play like our hometown gig, and in Werribee, like when my band, we were just like fun times. All our mates would come, cause a ruckus, have an after party at someone's house. It was going to be a good time. So I was excited for that anyway. And I got the call from Dave, and he's like, "Oh, it's David Nichols from Balwyn High." I'm like, "Okay, cool. They're going to tell me I didn't get the job. No biggie." He's like, "Oh, I wanted to let you know that you got the job." And I'm like, I did like a low face. I'm
Yeah.
like, I think I was maybe going to the gym or something. I'm like pulled over. I'm like, I didn't want to ask, are you serious? Like, give him a chance to change his mind. But I was like, thank you so much. You've made my day. And he's like, well, we hope we've made your life, to be honest.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, okay. Like, yeah. And I was like, that's a really lovely thing to say. And it's been 13 years now. Longest job I've ever had. And it has, in a lot of ways, changed my whole life. Some of my best friends work there. It's such a wonderfully supportive environment. We've been through, ups, downs, ins and outs. But yeah, it's like, I think that's the school that most people ask me about when they ask about my teaching, because it is a juggernaut, and yeah, something I'm immensely proud of, that I get to work there and can kind of continue with this legacy of building incredible musicians and kind of evolving it into its next kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, now it's you've made it your own. It's part of the drum pedigree. 13 years is a long run.
It's
like
2 generations of drummers.
Yeah.
And I think that was like, to prove that I could do it, I had to kind of get through a generation, because I had you, then I had Jeremy. Hope you're well, Jeremy. You seem to be doing well on LinkedIn, so
picking career goals.
Yes, which makes me so proud as well. And I had these wonderful, but you guys had done the work with Paul. You weren't my students. It's funny, I was listening to a Mike Johnson thing as well, where he talks about, like, no student is your student. We don't have ownership of our students. You're all independent people. You're not my student. You are just a student of the instrument. So I quite like that. You never mind to begin with. And yeah, then it's like, cool. After you guys had all gone through, it's like, okay, this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that we're still turning out really good young musicians, different for sure. But yeah, it's been 13 years now, and I feel like only in the last really 3-4 years I felt like it's my job.
Wow.
Like, that someone's not going to come and tap me on the shoulder and be like, actually, there was a huge mistake 12 years ago. This other guy was meant to get the job. Which is funny, like, imposter syndrome is a very real thing. It's been a real thing throughout my performing, and it's still a thing in my teaching, like, you're only as good as your last gig, you're only as good as your last lesson as well. You hold a lot of power in your hand as a teacher to influence someone's destiny on the instrument, which is not something I think I took it too lightly. Now I definitely don't.
Right.
So it's, and it's been the wonderful surprise. I fell into teaching, I wasn't actively looking to become a teacher. A friend of mine from high school asked, "Hey, you're a good drummer. My little brother wants to learn drums. Do you reckon you could teach him?" I'm like, yeah, I think so. And then I was like, I had to figure out how much to charge, and, Googled the going rates and things like that. Did Google exist then? I think it did. I was still on dial-up. I'm pretty old. I had dial-up internet, okay? I'd use MySpace.
But your story was about taking an iPod rather than like the Walkman and the cassette.
Yeah,
tape
I did
of
learn my
previous
first
guests.
songs on a Walkman though.
Okay.
Had like those bright yellow ones that Ash Sohn uses as like a drum muffler.
Oh,
Yeah. I used that to tape the songs that we were playing at the Battle of the Bands off the radio.
Oh,
and learn
wow.
well, they were great though because they didn't skip. Discmans they were awful to play drums with.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
they would just skip all the time.
Oh.
So yeah, I even had like my grandma's fancy one that had anti-skip technology in it. Still couldn't withstand my furious drumming and just skipped all the time. Yeah, so what was I talking about?
You were talking about how you fell into drum teaching.
Yeah, so like I like went over and like charged way too less, but I probably charged as much as I deserved as someone's never taught a drum lesson before. And when taught, my mate's brother and like, cardinal sin of like, so what do you want to learn? Oh, I want to learn this song. Okay, cool. We'll sit down and spend 20 minutes trying to write it out. And then another 20 minutes trying to play it. Oh, that way. Do you want to do it again? Sure. I'm like, yes, success. And I'm still friends with him now. Like, I've known him for 18 years, more 20 years, and he's got a kid as well.
Wow.
And, like, yeah, it is a wonderful thing. Like teaching is this beautiful thing. Like, yeah, I feel very fortunate to have gotten the dumb luck to kind of fall into it, really, like, yeah.
Well, Taylor, what would you like to ask the next guest?
Music related?
Anything related.
Oh, Tell me about one thing you enjoy that has nothing to do with music, but that makes your music better.
Oh, that's an awesome question. I've just looked at what the time is.
Yeah.
So we should wrap up with the 5 quick answer questions.
I will try to be quick.
But then can we have like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu addendum at like
absolutely.
the end of
for paid subscribers only.
Yeah.
You don't get that for free, guys. Sorry.
All right. So what is your favorite venue to play in Melbourne?
I got to play the Forum once and it was like the shit.
Yeah.
I love that place. I love going to gigs there. I saw like John Legend there. I saw like metal bands there. I think it's just this beautiful space. So playing would be that. I only played there once, but it still counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sick.
Absolutely.
What a flex.
What would be your dream venue to play?
I think the Palais in St Kilda.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just beautiful.
Cool.
It's just down by the beach and this beautiful old theatre. I've seen everyone from Jimmy Barnes to Incubus there. Missy Higgins.
Did you come to the Earth, Wind and Fire gig?
They played there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think it was like when I was in year 12 or something. 'cause
I think so.
Miss G was there.
Yeah.
Anna Kilkerson was
I think I'm gonna have some regrets. My other was funny, like a slight addendum. Al told me to go see James Brown when I was in like year 12.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it.
Oh my
And then he
gosh.
died. So now I tried, like, I've been to see Paul McCartney twice. I went and saw Stevie Wonder twice. I'm like, I'm not missing. Like, once they get up there in years, you got to go.
Wow.
I'm cool. I've seen Paul McCartney twice now. I think I'm good with that. Like, if I miss it next time, no biggie.
Yep.
But yeah, like, yeah, the Palais is, that for me is just, it's magical.
What is your coffee order?
Long black or espresso.
What is your favorite place to get food after a gig in Melbourne?
I'm a bit of a nerd and I like to go to bed early now. So I'm pretty much like packing my stuff off and rushing off. It used to be when I was playing covers, I had like a residency down in Geelong for like better part of a decade. And we'd finish at like 3 a.m. and we'd always get like, it used to be a meat pie afterwards, but then I'm like, that's disgusting.
From a servo?
Yeah. How we didn't get food poisoning. We did this for ages too. Like our guts, like, what are we ruined? Yeah. I think we often made him put on pies so that we did. So maybe that saved us. They're probably still cold, but it was like the ritual, like the gig debrief.
Yep.
And then, yeah, like, my holiday job was I used to do like night shift at Kmart. I used to work like midnight till 8 a.m.
Whoa.
And a way of us getting out of work, and I was really good at getting out of work. I did like 3 hours of work in these 8-hour shifts. So sorry, CEO of Kmart, I was not the employee of the month. You probably guessed already. We would always go for like, it was when Macca's just started being like 24 hours. And I'm a sucker for a cheeseburger. Hey, I don't really eat Macca's much anymore, but like, yeah. Like post-gig cheeseburger, like
Nice.
that's living like a king for me. Like that's filet mignon, or Sting might import his oranges from Valencia for me. Like true richness is like a post-gig double cheeseburger
Nice.
with like, that's hot.
Yeah, that's actually frozen.
Yeah, like if it's frozen, I'm like, make it again. Become that Karen. Sorry.
All right, final question.
Okay.
What is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Chill out, man. Don't take all this shit so seriously. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like far out, you know, as we hark back to those, you know, I think we shared that experience at university where it's just this
Yeah, that's so relatable.
so life and death. It's like, man, 20s are fun. So 30s are fun too. But like, man, like enjoy it. You don't have to have it all figured out by then. Life's really long. I don't subscribe that life is short. I like that stoic thing of like, you know, life is long if you know how to use it. You know, and I think, yeah, I look back and it's like, what's the rush? What's the rush? It's okay. Just chill. Spend that extra hour. Enjoy your practice time. Take the long way. You know, like there's this great, like kind of little, I think it's like a Tim Ferriss adjacent thing. Maybe it's a Derek Sivers thing. We were talking about, he used to ride his bike and take the fastest route and just fang it to work. But he'd arrive like tired and not enjoy the ride. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go the scenic route and go a little bit slower. It took him 3 minutes longer. And it was such a more enjoyable experience. I'm like, far out. That's like just a metaphor for life, really. It's like,
Yeah.
no, enjoy it. You know, sit around in the courtyard and talk to your mates about nothing for 2 hours. You know, jam with your mates with no intention of becoming rock stars. Just enjoy it. Like, you know, for me, it's like when I sit with Eddie, I'm just trying to enjoy it. I'm not trying to be like, okay, let's build these building blocks and let's become a baby genius. It's like, I just want to sit there as he smiles and gurgles and just savor that. Like that's what I, you know, up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, just sitting there with him as he enjoys the world. It's like, it's not like, I'm not sharing it on LinkedIn to be like, look at my son, the baby genius, you know. I'm just enjoying a really slow kind of thing, which I didn't do in my 20s. Would I take that advice? Probably not. You know, we're like, fuck you, man. What do you know? Like, silly old bastard. Once again, I'm a very stubborn, opinionated person. Don't hold it against me. But yeah, I think that just don't sweat the small things. And most of it is small stuff. I think even when I was talking to my student about the band, he was like, yeah, but you know, is this guy not taking our band super seriously, holding us back? I'm like, nah, it's important. You need someone that's chill, who just is like, what's the rush? So what he wants to have fun. Music is fun. Like, do you want to go see a band that's not fun? Like Snarky Puppy are weapons of musicians and they have a sick time.
Yeah.
That is undeniable and that's why people love Snarky Puppy. They like musicians love them and normies love them, you know, like, yeah. And that's, I think bands like that really helped me rekindle my love for jazz because it's fun. It's not like they all went to like, you know, Uni of North Texas, but they're having fun. They've like made it their own. And I think, yeah, maybe like that would be the addendum or the second thing to kind of add to that is, yeah, find your own thing. It's okay if you don't look like everyone else. That's not a bad thing. You don't copy someone else because you're just a B grade version of that. Just be an A grade version of you, even if that is playing blast beats and wearing all black and doing martial arts. Funnily enough, there's a great saxophone player. This is probably a nice bridge into jiu-jitsu, who I think he like named Ron Romero. He's a black belt now in jiu-jitsu and he started doing jiu-jitsu while he was at Monash.
Right.
So that could have even been there if I'd chilled out and could have started it earlier. But I don't believe in like, oh, if only I'd started XYZ earlier. I think things come to you at the right time. You know, if jiu-jitsu had come to me when I was 22 and I was obsessed with drumming, I would have been like, oh, I can't do this because it'll hurt my fingers or I'll get injured.
Yes.
You know, at 30, it was perfect because I was, you know, I'd reached the point where my hobby had become my job. And no one tells you that about music, you know, like even if your job is amazing, it's still your job. And you still, I think it's a really good idea to have some kind of barrier from that. You know, like people that don't have an outlet burn out. And I was. And burning out as a teacher is very, very bad because you're pushing all of your bullshit onto people who really don't deserve it and are really fragile. You know, nothing worse than coming into a lesson and doing something you love and your teacher's like, that's wrong. And what's wrong with you? And you're like, you know, and I've reflected on that too. And I've done that before. And it's, you know, it's not a place that I want to be. So I have to have a pressure outlet that lets me work through these things and not put them onto other people.
What's it like then having such like, I don't know, like you said before, like there's not many musicians that do martial arts. But this separate world where you can have this.
It's like wonderful.
Yeah. Fully active hobby.
It's so good. It's like starting drums all over again. You know, it's like there's not that many musicians. If we look at the broader population, we are quite rare. Like everyone loves music. You know, it's like people that watch the UFC or watch fighting. Like everyone's talking about Jake Paul fighting someone, but the amount of people that actually do it is much less. And it's, you know, like like taking up an instrument connects you to a community. Taking up a martial art does that too. Taking up a sport does that. And, you know, they're all different people. I train with, you know, doctors. I train with lawyers. I train with ex-special forces soldiers. Train with tradies. Train with other musicians. Like, that's awesome. That's such a great cross-section of life, especially if all you do is teach with musicians, play in bands with musicians. Like, where's your depth? Where's your broad experience of life? What are you going to talk about? How's a gig? How's music? Oh, did you listen to this album? And then you just kind of keep burrowing in this one hole, and you're going to reach a bottom of it sooner or later. You know, I haven't met anyone who can sustain a love of one thing. Even like for me, Setters, who's the purest love of music. He just loves music. If I had to, you know, he's just one of those people that's just, it's his whole life. But he loves footy. Like, he's obsessed with footy, and he loves sport. You know, he watches he'll stay up till 3 a.m. watching the Matildas. So, you know, that like whole, and I think one of the things we do really poorly, or that we could do better, is that we make people choose between music and sport, which I think is a false dichotomy. I think they complement each other really well. They have so much more in common than they don't have in common. And a lot of people that do music think, oh, well, I wasn't good at sports, so I do music, which isn't true. You just put more time into your music. Like, you'll go have a hit and you'll be like, actually, I'm pretty good at sport, because musicians are very task diligent people. You know, like when I blew my knee doing jiu-jitsu, my physio was like, yeah, musicians are really great to treat because I'll write them a plan and they'll go do it. Because we're like, we know the value of practice. Yeah. You know, so it's a bit of a superpower in that way as well. That like, and I remember Ron saying it to me, you know, the guy that's a black belt. It'd be like, I used all the things that I used to get good at music to get good at jiu-jitsu. It's just improv, and it's just, you know, it's studious. And I was a white belt then, and he was like I think a purple or a brown belt. So it didn't really make that much sense to me. But now that I'm a purple belt, which is kind of in the middle, 7 or so years in. So it's like in music sense, you're kind of going from that intermediate to advanced kind of level. It makes a lot more sense that it is about improvisation. It's about play. And it's about moving your body in a way that makes you feel good, which is what music is to me. So yeah, it's like, it's a lovely kind of like, and in the cool way, people look at you and be like, wow, you're a musician. That's so cool. Rather than if you're a musician, it's like, oh, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm a musician too. Like, so for ego stroking, it's really good in that way as well. Whoa, you teach drums for a living. That's sick. Instead of like, yeah, that's what everyone does, bro. Like,
we're all in the same community here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You'll have to go back and listen to Travis's episode when it comes out, because he spoke a little bit about how he wishes that every musician played a team sport, and that you can tell if a musician has done that or not.
Oh yeah.
And especially like, you know, he's running Horns of Leroy for over 10 years, and it's like, yeah, all the aspects of a team sport is just as applicable to a band.
It is, yeah. And I would say that I would, you know, not to overrule Travis, you know, but it took me a long time to realize that I am not really a team sport kind of guy.
Ooh,
I'm a very solo sport kind of guy. Like, jiu-jitsu is a team sport, but you do it solo. And I'm not against team sports, but a bit like with bands, and it's probably a character flaw of mine, is that I'm just very, very into the things that I do. So if like I would play, like I played sport all the way through, you know, I've been playing sport for as long as I've been playing music, probably longer. I've done every sport: gymnastics, cricket, Aussie rules, rugby league, karate, swimming, athletics, you know, like just the same as I am with music. I'm like, and I'll watch anything. I've got a KO subscription and I'm on that thing. I'll watch anything. Love the Olympics. I'll be like, fuck yeah, table tennis, give it to me. You know, but it took me a long time to understand what sport was right for me, a bit like with music. And it's like, for team sports, I would end up getting frustrated at my teammates because they weren't as committed to it as me. Now I think I'd be a better teammate because I'm more mellow. But in a way, like the sports that I enjoy like going to the gym. I enjoy lifting.
Yep.
Solo pursuit. Put on my headphones. I don't really want to talk to anyone. I will occasionally. And then Lozzie's like, man, you'll talk to anyone about anything. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Even at the gym. But generally, I'm a pretty solo kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like I like just being able to shut out the world, go through the processes, do the thing. After that, I found boxing. Once again, you have sparring partners, but it's a solo sport. It lives and dies by you. You're in the ring on your own. And then jiu-jitsu was an extension from there because I didn't really want to get hit in the head.
Yes.
It's not that enjoyable. And I wasn't that good. So, you know, like the joys of the drums is it doesn't hit you back. Yeah. Boxing does, unfortunately. But yeah, it's like you have teammates, which is wonderful. But it's at the end of the day, it's you and the instrument, which is very similar to drumming in a lot of ways. And
because you can just work as hard and as deep as you want into whatever the thing is. Like, put as much time in as you want, and you'll get what you put back out.
Totally. And everyone's approach is different. Some people are just very good natural athletes, and they learn by doing. And then I have friends like, one of my favorite training partners is, he's a captain in the army. He's about 6'4", 110 kilos, doing his PhD in electrical engineering. And he has the same obsessive brain as I do. So we're always sharing match footage. We're always breaking down things. We're always analyzing our roles and talking about these things. And that's the part of music that I really like. So I enjoy the technical side of things. I enjoy, okay, cool. He's playing this way. What does that affect? Okay, he uses these drumsticks. I'm a details person. I'm not a forest guy. I'm a trees guy in that aspect. I want to know, that's a sequoia or that's a redwood. What grain pattern does it have? I don't want broad. I want deep. I really want to understand something. So I'm not very good at having hobbies, obviously, because I get obsessed with them. So yeah, my hobby has become my obsession,
What's it like doing competitions with BJJ?
It's fucking sick. I love it. It's terrifying. It's like doing your first gig all over again. Do you remember your first gig?
No.
You just white it out from the terror of
it. Well, because I've been playing at like church since I was 7. Like going to services.
Yeah.
So I don't like my first gigs are before I remember.
Yeah. So you got you had all that youthful exuberance, so you never got nervous. Yeah. And then you had enough kind of doing it. Do you remember your first non-church gig?
No.
Did you ever do Balwyn kind of jazz nights or something like that?
Yeah, I did all of them. I remember my first pub gig actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now that's sparked something.
Yeah, here we go.
It was at next to the old prison, near Melbourne Uni. There's that band venue, and the stairs go up to an upstairs band room.
Oh, John Curtin?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, yeah. That's an old prison?
Next door. Or
so Trades Hall is over the road.
Yeah, and then to the other side is the
the Remand Centre or something?
No, like where Ned Kelly was, the old prison.
I thought he was at Pentridge. Anyway, we won't get this.
Maybe he was, but I thought they hung him anyway.
Oh, they probably did.
Now we're getting really off.
We're getting real off.
I've played a gig there as well. That's why I'm
yeah, cool.
So
you did your research on the venue, clearly.
Yeah. Who else has played here before?
And will they hang me if I play badly?
The gig went really well until the last song. And because I remember coming into it being quite nervous. And I was 16, 17 or something.
Wow.
And I'd learned all the tunes, and then someone counted off the last song. And I thought I heard what tempo it was, and it was completely off by half. And so I came in with this really slow,
oh no,
72 BPM,
shit,
groove. Yeah, and everyone else is playing at 100, and then there's this whoa, and everyone in the band's what's happening?
Who do we follow?
And I'm just
This is why non-drummers counting in songs should be banned. Outlaw it.
No, well, I should have listened to the count-in.
This
was me being just in another world.
Don't you apologize for them. They stole our one function. But so, and everything else went well, but that's the one thing you remember, yeah?
Yeah, the last song I wrecked, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. I've had many of those moments. And at the time they're mortifying, and then we're laughing about it now.
Yeah, exactly. So, you grow from it.
Yeah. And, that's a really, I remember my first pub gig as well. It was at a place called the Barleycorn, which is on Johnson Street, the arse end of Johnson Street. Though, you work your way up Johnson Street. We're pretty much at the bottom of it, where there's only crackheads and just no one's going there voluntarily. But this pub would take anyone. It was on a Wednesday night, and I was maybe 17, maybe 18, and I was oh my God, playing in a real pub. What a time. And I think we played well. I remember the stage smelt worse than the toilets.
Ooh.
Yeah. But we had a sick time, and because all our mates were also 17, 18, don't have jobs, just show up and have a sick time.
Cool.
So yeah, it was fun. I can't remember any details about that. And it's doing jiu-jitsu is that all over again. I remember my first comp, once again, you learn all your moves, you can make a plan. And then that plan goes to shit straight away. In my first competition, I didn't score a single point. I got tapped out in my first match with something I probably wouldn't tap to now. The other guy had hurt his arm previously, and then he was giving me a story about how he survived cancer, and I'm like, I can't beat this guy because he had a really sore arm, and I pressed on it, and he's starting to scream, and I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. And he beat me by points. So I lost to a one-arm man. Not great. And then I got tapped out. I like got 20 points put on me, and then tapped out, which is like not good. That was my first comp experience. It got better from there. Much like gigging, upward trajectory. And like I was devastated at the time. I was 31, something like that. And I didn't have to do it. I could just run back to the safe haven of music where that shit wasn't happening anymore. Like I'd reached a level, as you said, like after you've done a few gigs, the nerves aren't really there. Like there's anticipation and excitement, but you're not nervous. You kind of know what's going to happen. With jiu-jitsu competing, it wasn't like that. Now I'm at a stage where I've done the same process. So I've won like, state titles, national titles.
Yeah, I know.
All of these.
Incredible.
Thank you. And I taught some, the up and coming, like I help run the competition class at my gym and help prepare people. And same thing happens in music. People look at it and they go like, like what do I need to do? And for their first gig, they want to start where you are.
Yes.
And I'm like, that will not happen, mate. Like, you are very good. They're probably, as I see most of my students when they start gigging, they're much more adept than I was and much more aware than what I was. But I'm like, still, it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. Prepare to be unprepared and prepare to deal with it. Like I've had guys go in and win their first tournaments, but still they have moments of adversity that they weren't prepared for. As you said, like the last song, awkward kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's all going real well. And then this guy hits you with a submission when you're up 10 points with a minute to go and you're like, fuck, or like you just get pummeled by someone who's way better than you after you're starting to build confidence. And that's what I love about it. It's just a reality check like gigs are. Gigs are a really good way to see, like the practice room is awesome, but we live and die by what we do on stage. That's the real test of where you're at. You are only as good as your last gig is a good metaphor for that reason. And competing is this lovely thing of like, that win or learn thing. It sounds kind of trite, but it's true. Like the losses are important because, I'm about 60-40 in terms of win-loss. I've won a little bit more, but the interesting thing about jiu-jitsu is that you go up belt ranks. So once you start winning, it's like, congratulations, new rank, more experienced people, they're better. You're going to go back to getting your ass beat again. And what do? Do you opt out of competition until you get better? No, because competition is a skill on its own. Like playing gigs is a skill on its own. So there's all these lovely metaphors. I feel like jiu-jitsu has been such a lovely catalyst for me to regain my love of learning, which I don't sure if I fully lost on drums, but it's just definitely starting to fade a little bit.
Sure.
It was just evolving relationship, like after a certain level of skill, my drumming skills are pretty much where they are. I could stop playing for a year, start playing again. I wouldn't have lost that much ground. If I took a year off jiu-jitsu, like I would be rusty. So it's really interesting in that aspect too. I find it helps me to see things differently, helps me to problem solve in really unique ways. It is daunting in terms of like a lot of like, my friends who are musicians as well. I remember one drummer friend of mine was like, I can't compete because I just can't bear the thought of the injuries and what that would do to my earning. He's like he doesn't have a day job, so he works full time as a musician and creative kind of person. I'm like, respect. He's a much bigger, much stronger. I think he was actually at the point much better than me as well, but he just couldn't get himself over that line. But then another friend of mine who's a drummer has started competing as well and had some matches against people from my club and he lost them both. And he was like, man, like, it fucking sucks. I'm like, it does. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, no one likes losing. No one goes into a comp going like, I hope I lose 2 matches. We all want to win. If you go to Worlds, you're flying, to Las Vegas and there's a 50% chance you'll go out in the first round, that you'll drop 10 grand and you'll have 5 minutes of match time. 50% chance. Someone's got to lose. You can't both win. In music, we avoid that because everyone kind of wins. Yeah. Like we're doing this collaborative thing and we're doing it together. It's this very intrinsic rewards. Competition gives you an extrinsic reward as well. Like music has extrinsic rewards with like, making records or people coming to your gigs, but there's no, like, you can't enter I guess you can. There's like, band competitions and the like.
Yeah. It's
pretty like not consistent though, you
No.
know, like, and it's very hard criteria. Like judging creative things is really difficult. So it's surprised me in some ways, but yeah, I love it. You
Mm.
know, it's yeah. It's kind of insane. Like, you know, I roll up to work with like black eyes and like busted up. The first time, like, you know, people were raising their eyebrows at me, and now it's like just become accepted. Like, people don't even ask questions anymore. And my students love it. They find it so interesting. Like, you know, maybe it's like, you know, scares them a little bit. They're like, you know, but I think it adds a dimension to my teaching as well, that I'm not just like, all I talk about is music, all I expect you to do is music. I'm very supportive of them having their hobbies. And I'm like, yeah, you don't have to choose between music and sport. Do both. Like, you played basketball, didn't you?
Yeah, but I stopped in year 12.
Yeah. 'Cause you can't jar those fingers and stuff like that.
Exactly.
You know, like Will Hull Brown was like an AIS scholarship basketball player. And he said he would do drums and basketball together. Like, yeah, like we make our choices because we feel pressured to do it. I did the same. I walked away from music when I was 18 because I felt like a lot of musicians are very derogatory towards sport as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I don't hear sports people doing the same. They're very supportive of music. They've all got their headphones on before they compete. They all love music. It's like this weird, like kind of like jocks and nerds kind of thing. Like Revenge of the Nerds, like, yeah, fuck sport. And they don't give a shit. Like, you know, it's like sooner or later you have to let that stuff behind, you know, like there's space for everyone in everything. Sport has a wonderful community. There's plenty of accessibility in there, you know, like Elliot, you know, plays in a trans basketball league.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk a lot about sport. We work together at another school.
Oh, cool.
You know, and we talk a lot about sport, you know, like it's really important. It can fill so many needs and can be a really wonderful community. And as Trav says, you get used to having that different part of you, even if it's like me getting better at conflict resolution. You know, a couple of my bandmates are like, hey, like it's good having you in the band, like, you know, because you're good at resolving conflicts. You know, and it, you know, certain people, you know, some musicians can be aggressive. Like for me, they're not really aggressive because it's like, number one, it's helped me to calm myself. I don't respond to aggression with aggression. I try to be calm and like resolve these things. But also they know that I'll put them to sleep if they fuck with me. Like, you know, there will come a point where it's like, if you want to fight, I will fight you. It doesn't faze me. That's like my hobby. Which is kind of strange, you know, like I kind of forget that from time to time. I had a bandmate be like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at like getting out of headlocks. Can you put me in a headlock? And I'm like, gladly. And I put him, you know, tapped in 2 seconds. It's like, oh, shit. I'm like, yeah, it's a bit different when you're fucking around with your mates who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's helped me a lot in ways that I didn't expect that it would, which is like same with music. I would say the exact same thing. It's like, it's not, you know, it's an unexpectedly fun adventure.
It's interesting hearing like, I don't know, I think it goes to your character, like all of these, like your first competition, so many people would like just be like, all right, well, this is not for me. But you've maintained it and like kept working.
Thank you.
And I hadn't thought about it like with each belt, you go up a level and then like you start losing.
How funny would
again.
that be in music?
Like,
it's like once you've clocked, but it's same in music. It's like once you've clocked the local band scene, then it's like, cool, well, do we start touring nationally?
Yeah.
And a lot of bands will fall off there. Then internationally, more bands fall off. I'd say that the bands that are left touring the whole globe are like the black belt masters of it. You know, like most people, like, you know, like there's a saying, it's like, how long does it take for a normal person to get their black belt? And it's like, normal people don't get black belts. So it's a bit like with that, like how long does it make to become a successful musician? It's like most normal people don't become successful musicians. You have to be a bit abnormal. You have to really commit to the process. And yeah, like, you know, thank you for that lovely compliment about my personality. I'm, you know, Gordon Rittmeister shared a quote with me ages ago, like, most of success is being too dumb to quit. So if I attribute anything to my success, it's that. Yeah, it's all about the long game. And, you know, a very wise coach said that if you agree to compete, you should do 3. The first one's a write-off. Whatever happens doesn't matter. You never expected anything, it didn't happen. The second one is where we start trying to have a plan. The third one is where we start expecting some things or having clearer goals, score some points, win a match, hit a particular technique. I would say that's a really good approach to gigging anyway. The first gig doesn't matter. Second gig, third gig, are they getting better? Are more people showing up? Are you feeling more comfortable? It's like while we do trial exams, you know, like the first one doesn't matter. None of them matter. You know, no gig is irredeemable, you know. You're only as good as your last performance. But if you leave it at your last performance, then how are you going to get better? You know, for me, it's I like the idea of continual pursuit of improvement. And I'm lucky enough that I can do it, you know, and I'll do it until my body gives up on me, and I'll probably still try and do it, you know. yeah, and then I'll probably shift to coaching people because I really enjoy that as well. One of the things, teaching and coaching are really similar. And I really enjoy watching people, once again, it's the joy. You take people under your wing and you support them and they go and do it and they're like, man, I didn't think I could do that. The same with drumming, like where people go, wow, I didn't think I could do that. And I think we put really hard limiters on what we think we can do as people. We underestimate what we can achieve. We set our goals too low. For my first competition, I was like, I just want to get out there. And that's a wonderful goal for your first one. But if that's still your goal 10 competitions in, you're selling yourself short. You want to be like, okay, I can win this. And then when I started winning, it was like, oh, because once again, it took me a while to shake off that identity of like, oh, well, I'm not that athletic, which I am. Like I've played a bazillion sports. Like but I adopted this kind of mentality that I'm like, oh, I'm not an athlete, I'm a musician. It's like, well, no, I'm just a person that enjoys both, and like, so it took a while, and almost like, that state title I won, which was like, I won it, all submissions, no points scored on me. That's like a whitewash. That's like winning the grand final by 100 points, and I was like, oh shit, okay, that's cool. It was really unexpected, in some ways. And then you go out and you prove it again, and win-loss doesn't matter. It's about the skill, and in a way, like a bit like with drums now too, it's like, I don't care about a lot of the extremes. I don't care how many people show up to my gigs. I only care about the skills I display. And in some ways I'm a bit too casual when I compete now because I'm more invested in improving my skill than I am the result, which is an interesting thing to be. There are some people that are only driven by results, extrinsic results. I'm very intrinsically motivated. I just want to do good jiu-jitsu. Like I want to play nice drums, like I want to do like cool fills and like extend and play with nice sounds. Yeah. Whereas some people I'm making an assumption, are not motivated by that. They're motivated by making it their career and selling records and getting the music out to people, which both are important. But yeah, I've always been really intrinsic, or not always. Now I am very intrinsically motivated.
I think it comes like to the intention that you speak about all of the different aspects of your life that you're bringing to it. Like, yeah, you're not being overrun by the like, I just have to win. It's like, oh no, I want to do this and be like mindful about what I'm doing and how I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to spend time with my son and I'm not going to like freak out about it. I'm just going to like be in the moment. And
yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's like, Eddie doesn't know if I've won or lost, and he's come to my competitions. He slept through the first one. I did win that. So, and look, I'm in the Masters divs now. So most of the guys I compete against are dads as well.
Right.
So it's a really nice community in that sense as well. And, my parents weren't musicians, but I also never really got to see them play sport. So for me, being active is really important because I want to model that. I want to basically do sport. I don't mind if it's jiu-jitsu or whatever sport Eddie gets interested in. And I want to participate. I want to be active participant. Like with my parents, they were always on the sideline. And, like I didn't enjoy that. Too much pressure.
Right.
I don't like that idea of the ugly parent syndrome. Like we talk about stage mums and dads in music. Then there's the ugly parent thing in sport where parents who didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve in sport live vicariously through their kids.
Oh, right.
And for me, that's super awful because it's such a traumatic thing for them. And once again, kids are fragile with this stuff. You have those experiences that might put you off playing sport. And you miss out on these wonderful experiences because of a few, ill-advised things. So for me, I'm really conscious of that. So, if I'm an active participant, it will hopefully absolve me of being on the sideline, or if I am on the sideline, I'll have the recollection of what it was like to be in the arena. I love that Theodore Roosevelt quote, it's not the critic who counts, it's the doer of deeds, the man whose face is marred with dirt and sweat, who knows, even if you lose, the feeling of daring greatly to try and achieve something great, and I feel that with jiu-jitsu. I used to have that quote. Awesome. I used to have a YouTube video of that on my phone that I would listen to before I compete to remind me that the results don't matter. It's about pursuing something that's slightly terrifying. Like for me, that's the important thing, that the sad people are the ones that don't put themselves in there, who will never know, the feeling of victory or defeat. You know where you stand at the end of a match. You're either going to get your hand raised or you're not. And then you go back to your normal life and you hug your wife and you hug your son and everyone's besties at the end of it. The guys I have the hardest matches with some of my really good friends, and I have an immense amount of respect for them. I try and murder them when I'm in there and then we shake hands, and it's really good for us. It's a really cathartic and healthy way to deal with our masculine energy, you know, which, you know, can get demonized from time to time because it can be really explosive and dangerous. You know, martial arts has given me a really great way to channel that energy into something I think is really productive and also be aware of when it is destructive. So yeah, it's, yeah, I think that's the thing. I don't want to be a sideline critic, especially in music as well. You know, a lot of people, oh, that last album was as good as their last, you know, thing, or, oh, that band sucks. I'm like, don't be a hater, man. Like, if you can do better or you can do it, go and do it. Like, no one gives deeds, not words, acta non verba. I don't give a shit about what you say. And, you know, I'm sure my students are the same. They don't want to hear me wax lyrical about the glory days. They want to see me play drums and, you know, or teach them how to play the thing, you know? So for me, I'm really conscious of that as well. It's like, at the very least, you know, don't say, you know, it's always constructive criticism. At the very most, be out there and show them, you know, and that's super important to me in whatever I do.
Yeah.
You know, because like, we've got this like these weird culture of like hating on and reaction things. I'm going to sound like a boomer here, but you know, like it is, it's like, you know, like for me, it's, you know, be the person in the arena in something that scares you a little bit. I think that's so important, you know, no matter what that is, like knock on that door, you know, like my wife or like Lozzie will always be like, you got this amazing trait where you just can walk up to anyone and talk to them. I'm like, yeah, well, why wouldn't I? You know, like just a person, you know, but for some people that's huge. They really find that difficult. And I'm like, well, just do it. Like, you know, what's the worst? They snob you, they're the asshole. You tried, you know? So for me, it's like, that's like a really critical thing as well. Like be the person who goes first. Like when a student comes in for their first lesson, I'm warm and I'm welcoming. I don't mind being, even if it's not reciprocated, even if they're really nervous and they, you know, which has happened. They go to tears and they run away and they don't want to do drums. That's fine. That's cool. I'll be like, hey, thank you for coming in. Really nice to meet you. Hope to see you again soon. Same with jiu-jitsu. First lesson, it's not this standoff like macho bullshit of like, well, now you come and do kumite till you die. You know, it's like, hey man, really nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us. And then you ask them about their first session. Oh, you know, you found that really difficult. Yes, so did I. Couldn't hip escape. Which they look at you with like wide eyes. It's like when you tell, oh man, my first gig sucked, and your students are like, what do you mean you sucked? You're like, you were bad at this thing? I'm like, yeah. I didn't magically transport down from heaven and have drumming abilities. I was terrible. My first drum lesson, I couldn't hold the hi-hat pedal down. Walked away crying, and now here I am holding down many hi-hat pedals. Same with my first comp. I'm like, I sucked. I was down the end with you guys looking at the guys up the top of the, because we line up in order of rank. Okay. You know, like from black belt to white belt, which I quite like that too, because it makes you, when people are beating you, you can see why. You know, that guy's been doing it for 15 years. You shouldn't be beating him. He would be terrible if you were. And they look at you and they're like, what? Like, you lost competitions? I'm like, man, go look at my competition history. It's public. I keep it public for that reason. You can go and look up it. You can see how much I've won and how much I've lost. You know, at the start, there were more losses than wins, you know, but as you said, like, I didn't stop. Yeah. And that's what I would like from you. You know, and these guys go and they win a few, and I'm like, man, I'm so proud of you. And they're like, I'm so proud of myself too. Yeah. It's this really wonderful thing it's a lovely kind of catalyst for doing the scary shit in life in a non-scary way, you know, in a controlled environment. You know, injuries happen. Injuries happen in life though, you know, like the only injury I got was because I injured myself because I was stupid. So, and it was a really great learning experience. Like I blew my knee from someone basically putting it in a grip. And I was like, I know, I'll wiggle my knee out. Oh. If you know anything about knees, if they're isolated and you try to twist your way out of them, you will shred all your knee ligaments. And that's what I did. Like I ruptured my ACL, did my MCL, and tore my meniscus. Ooh. It's called the unhappy triad. It is a very unhappy triad. But I was super lucky that, you know, my physio, I was lucky enough to get into a sports-specific physio. And she was a lovely guide for that. She's like, look, I think you have enough stability and strength that you can do a non-operative route, or at least try to rehab it that way for 6 months. If it's not working, you can go down the surgical route. It's been 5.5, 6 years, and I haven't had that many issues since. Oh, cool. So I was very fortunate. In Australia, we have a really big culture of, this is way off tangent for a music podcast, but very interesting nonetheless. Because when I went in, she was like, look, the surgical options means you can't do anything for a few months. No drums. And I was like, mentally, I don't think I would cope particularly well with that. Yep. She's like, or you can do what we call conservative management, which is start with rehab and you can still keep doing everything. And I'm like, where do I sign? I will do that. And once again, I followed the plans. I was very diligent. I didn't miss a session of jiu-jitsu. I would tape my knee up with fluoro tape so that everyone knew that this was my injured knee. Yep. And my training partners were wonderful and would work around it. I changed my game to suit having an injured knee. And yeah, like I was trained all the way through. 7 months later, I did my first comp and I had my best comp result. I came second.
Huh.
And that was a really powerful thing for me. Like I'd gone from being like, fuck, like I may never do sport again. I've ruptured my ACL, and you watch sport and you're like, ACL is 12 months out.
Yeah.
You may never play again. And my experience was very different. And if anything, it really, number one, made me conscious of that we are fragile, we are breakable, but we're also anti-fragile, that we gain from the things that break us, and maybe much stronger, much smarter. And like my friend Ron, once again, he was like, if you get through this injury, you'll probably be in for life. Because most people will do something like this and you'll never see them again, which happens, I had a friend of mine dislocate his shoulder on Friday, which is really daunting for him.
Yeah.
But he's, at the start, everyone's really stiff. They're like, really like, "Nyeh." After time, you realize that's bad. You've got to chill. It's like playing the drums like this. Everyone starts like, and then you're like, watching Jeff Beccaro or something like that. They're chill. And it's like that counterintuitive thing of like, the more relaxed, the better you play. And I was one of those slightly deranged people that I was like, no, I want to do this and I want to learn how to work through the adversity. And like that's, every injury is a learning thing. You've done something that you shouldn't have. You've got to unlearn that bad habit. Same with like with drums, with people when they get carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
Even when I went to LA, I had some lessons and I had fixed up some mechanical issues.
Oh, cool. Which
really have helped me. And I try to focus on that with my students as well, like building good habits. Like we don't have to break ourselves in order to play the instrument. And if we do, it's a cue that we can change something. It's like if your lower back's hurting, maybe try and sit a little bit higher. If your wrist is hurting, maybe try and use a bit more rebound. If your neck's really sore, maybe you're just holding too much tension in your head. Like these are all cues, in that sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been an unexpectedly interesting thing. Yeah, from huge adversity of that to having, it was, one of those Hollywood-esque moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where's next? Like once you win all these competitions?
I'm really keen to go overseas and compete overseas.
Okay.
So I'm looking at doing the Asian Open this year, which is in Japan. Just a good excuse to go to Japan, really. Which is hilarious. You think about music, it's like, after a while of doing gigs, I'd never go anywhere if they're not paying me. Now I'm like, I'll spend multiple thousands of dollars to go and do my niche hobby. So in that way, it's like taught me something about music too. It's like, it was probably a bit like, I'm not doing this unless it's perfect. Now I'm like, fuck it, let's go. That's, the wisdom learned, isn't it? Like the world is there to be seen and go to experience. And you're allowed to do your hobbies. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to be like, I can't do that gig because I have to take time off work. And then what if I have no money? It's like, well, it'll be a sick story. Win, lose, draw. It'll be like, I went and I did a competition overseas. I went with my friends. We had a wonderful time. I trained with different people, made new friends. Like that's the thing. It's still a win. The competition is the cherry on top of the cake. The cake is the enjoyable part. I don't even like cherries that much. So for me, like, I would go and I would want to win, but it would just be like actually backing myself, which I never really did with music as much. I was always like, like trying to prove to people that I could make it work.
Right.
Rather than like going like, oh no, I'm allowed to do this. Maybe I didn't like, it was like, not having, wealthy parents or, or something like that. And that's all bullshit really. Like it was just, I never really believed in myself as much as what I should have. And now having a second hobby, you're like, man, someone's got to do it. Why can't it be me? There's the biggest jiu-jitsu competition is the World Masters. 5,000 people enter it.
Wow.
We're all people 30 plus doing jiu-jitsu. 5,000 flying in from all over the world.
Is that the LA one you were talking about?
It's in so it's in Vegas, I think, but there is big ones in LA as well.
Okay.
Same, they've both got L's
California.
in them. Yeah, somewhere in there.
Oh, I guess Las Vegas is not even in California.
It's close here. It's like 4 or 5 hours away, I think.
America.
Yeah. America's like, just say America, They all think Australia's the same. We might as well do the same thing to them.
Yeah.
Shout out to American listeners. So it's like that too. Like it went from being like something I would never have done. Even like when Monash had like those Italy and New York exchanges, I didn't do them because I was like, oh, well, I can't afford to take time off. And I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. What's wrong with you? Like it was literally on Hex. I could have gone to Italy or New York for nothing, but I didn't believe it. I didn't think I was worthy enough. So now it's like, I'm like, well, I am worthy and no one's going to make the decision for me. Even my wife she's like, why didn't you tell me you wanted to do this? I'm like, oh, but I feel bad asking. She's like, you got to fucking ask, you idiot. Like stop being she's like, I would love to support you to do this, but you just got to ask. You got to, I'm like, I just don't. She's like, if you want to do it, ask and then we will do it. And I'm like, yeah, of course.
That's awesome.
If she said the opposite, like if she was like, I want to do this, be like, of course.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of it. But if you don't ask, you don't get.
Mm.
You know, we have these like quiet little battles inside ourselves, and then we speak up, and it's like, oh, well, of course. And you're like, man, why did I sit on that? Like, why didn't I just do it? Like, you know, I feel like that's, you know, with teaching too, and you know, you like you ask your students, you know, oh, what's wrong? Oh, nothing. Oh, nothing. And then they come to you, I've been like agonizing with this. I'm like, well, there's this double degree, and they're like, oh, you know, like actually having the bravery to say it out loud is so powerful. And yeah, I think even I'm 38 and I'm still struggling with it. So expecting 18-year-olds, 28-year-olds, most, you know, what's that thing? Like most people leave lives of quiet discontent, you know, which really resonates with me, you know, and that, you know, in my quote thing, the coffee must be hitting now, you know, that like the number one regret of the dying is I lived a life that others expected me to rather than the life that I really wanted to live. Which I always think about, and I'm like, wow, you know, I don't want to get to the end with all of these things that I wish I'd done. I'm going to try and do them, you know?
Yeah. Final question before we finish this Megapod.
Megapod.
Where do you get your daily quote rotation from?
I currently read 2 books. One's called, I think it's called Daily Pages of Wisdom. It's by Dostoevsky, I think. And then I read another one called The Daily Dad, which is a Ryan Holiday book. He's got The Daily Stoic as well. And now I bought it for myself, and it's just a page a day because that's about all I have the time to read. And then I subscribe to 2 newsletters, the James Clear one and Sahil Bloom, which, it's funny. Like I quote farming is an interesting thing. Once again, it's something that I feel like, you know, like this kind of pseudo, or like you're just stealing other people's words, blah, blah, blah. But there's something of the power of words and seeing something that you know written, it just kind of amplifies your own inner voice and gives you that bravery. I don't know. I've always loved reading. Once again, another equal love. Like I've always loved books, and you know, I have no bookshelves at my current house, but like my brother-in-law came over yesterday and he's really into reading at the moment. So I'm like, I love the idea of anti-library. Doesn't matter how many books are in your library that you've read, it's how many you haven't read or how many that you're making space to create space for more. Because once a book is read, you don't really need it anymore. Give it to someone else and then they can do the same. So I love this idea of a book, the right book for the right person is probably the best gift you can give someone. A book can change your life. I know me and M. Carasella, we shared a book called A Little Life, which is this really heavy book. It's a book that I wouldn't recommend for most people because it will change you. It's so brutally beautiful. It honestly, I would sit on the couch crying as I read it.
Wow.
It was brutal. It's so, I feel like there was me pre-book and post-book, and Em and I would talk about it. I'm like, it's just, it fucks you up, but in this really powerful way.
Wow.
And that's the power of that's the power of fiction. And then non-fiction is this, you know, I grew up in probably a low socioeconomic kind of space. So reading was always my escape and my ability to kind of learn about the world. Like, we all have access to these books, and you know, the best way to upskill yourself is to read something, in my opinion. So, and like, I love the quotes, and it always like, you know, some people are fuck, all he does share is quotes. No one's ever messaged me that, but you know, some people take the piss out of it. I don't give a shit about them. You do you, boo. But a lot of people be like, hey, where'd you get that quote from? Hey, where'd you get this from? So I want to send it to them, and it seems like something that most people enjoy, like just having a little bit of daily wisdom, you know, like, or a little bit of something to start your day with an interesting thought or something like that. So I really love it. I love it for me because it helps me kind of learn a little something and think about something. And I love what it can do for people, because I remember too, one of my students, you know, like one of those things like, you know, don't let your students follow you on socials. I'm like, I can't stop them. The more I try and stop them, the more they're going to find me. I just assume they're all going to find me, and that keeps me well behaved on social media. And like one of them was like, like, you know, read it and was like, I really loved that quote today. And it was in a really bad place and I read it and it really helped me. And I'm like, wow, that's what words can do. They can change our whole day. So that's where I get my daily quotes from.
It's awesome. Thanks
you.
for sharing.
My pleasure.
Where can people find you online if you're, you know, they're inspired to try and, you know, book you for some lessons or some shows?
come find me on Instagram. I have a hilarious Instagram title of The Doug Life. That's THADOUGLIFE, not life, LYF. I should have committed fully, but got to have a bit of professionalism. So yeah, check me out there. I've got Facebook. I don't have a website because, it's 2025. Maybe I should have backed myself to make a website, but I didn't. So yeah, check me out there. I'm probably most active on Instagram. Facebook's kind of dying a slowish death. But yeah, I really love Instagram as the platform. It's probably the best place to find me, and come and hang out and we'll share quotes and say g'day.
Cool. Yeah, so your books are open for like private lessons?
Yeah, come and hang out.
Sick.
I would love for people to come. If you want to venture out to Werribee, look, it doesn't smell like poo. That's the Market Gardens. It's not the sewage farm, okay? Sewage farm actually doesn't smell, contrary to popular belief. Yeah, if you want to come and hang out with me in sunny Werribee, I would love to teach you. I really do enjoy teaching. It's been the unexpected joy of my life. So yeah, if you're interested in playing drums, I would love to teach you. Or if you just want to come and chat, that's cool too. If you want to do jiu-jitsu, I'd love to teach you jiu-jitsu as well.
Is that also in Werribee? Now that we've done the BJJ dive.
Yeah. I teach in Altona. Oh, I don't teach there. Sorry, Cam. It's not my school, it's your school. I train in Altona North, which is in the west as well. But yeah, if you're interested in jiu-jitsu, there's a few musos around who do it, and I would love to talk to you about that as well. Yeah, I'd love to talk to anyone who's interested. I think the joy of doing a podcast is it does connect you with some really interesting people. Like, I've done quite a few over the years now, and it's always interesting the people that you meet from doing it, because we're all like-minded people just curious about our communities and the people in it. And you really learn some unexpected things, and it's really wonderful. I remember listening to a couple of yours, and anywhere from Floydie to, I think, was it Vincent? Was the doctor who
Alex Kwong.
Alex Kwong. I think he was at Balwyn when I was teaching there.
Yeah.
And we'll learn about these people's lives, and even Elliot, setters. It's such a wonder. You get this real insight into people. It's a really wonderful thing that you're doing, and it's really beautiful. So thank you for having me on. I'm so grateful. I'm just some middle-aged dude who teaches at the school you used to go to. But it's such a lovely platform to share and to learn, yeah. So I honestly, if you've made it this far through, I would love to hear from you. Even if you gave up halfway through, well, you probably don't know how to contact me if you did. So yeah, no, I'm super grateful, Luke. Thank you.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, thanks so much, Taylor. This has been awesome.
It has been.
Such a privilege, and thanks for, being such an open book and sharing so much wisdom.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Thank you.